Hey there, my name is Cole Adams, and you are watching the best college basketball podcast out there that covers the entire sport of college basketball, brackets, bubbles, and bid stealers. Now, here are your hosts, Sam Fetterman and Jonathan Lidskin.
Season 36 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. I am Sam Fetterman. That is Jonathan Lidskin. We are back after over a month without a podcast. Jonathan, how does it feel to be back recording Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers?
Dude, I feel like this is like the longest we've gone without recording a pod since like we started doing this show, Sam.
Yeah, it's been a while, and we had to make a late change, but I'm glad that we do have a guest, and we do have a great guest. Armand from PDT Scouting is here, and we're going to preview freshmen. We're going to preview international kids coming in, high major, mid major, low major, everywhere you look. We're going to talk about all of them. Armand, welcome back to Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers.
For sure. Thank you guys for inviting me. Always ready to talk international, college basketball, whatever it is, I'm ready. So,
all right. So every conversation around the class of 2025 starts with three players. And I think that's where we're going to have to start this conversation as well. Yep. It's Cam Boozer, AJ DeBonsta, and Darren Peterson are the top three. They've been known as the top three for a long time. It is three of the better prospects that we've been seeing recently. In terms of a top three coming into college basketball, probably the best 1 through 3 that we've seen in a long time as well. Armand, where do you stand on these three guys? How would you rank them? And how do you think that they can each make their impact in their first year?
Yeah, I would probably say in terms of college impact, I think all three are going to be. I had a hot take. I don't think it's a hot take, but I think all three are going to be in the All-American discussions for sure. I think first team, 2 out of 3 could do. I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if. Like, I know usually freshmen don't get 3 in, but this is by far the best top 3 we've seen in a long, long time. And I think about it, like the last time we've seen a top 3 like really good in college was the Chet, Paolo, Jabari Smith class of those big 3. And I do think these 3 are better. And I think it starts with Darren, especially because Peterson's always been extremely talented, extremely skilled scorer. He gets a lot of Kobe comparisons, I think, by his mannerism and kind of his archetypes his frame's very similar. But he's just super versatile. He can pretty much guard 1 to 3. As an offensive player, he can handle the ball extremely well. Unbelievable shot maker, really great athlete. He can finish with both hands. He's got a great frame too. So I think for him, it's only going to be like 22, 23 games, not out of the realm for him. I think realistically speaking, Kansas doesn't have a lot of offensive firepower, and I think how they constructed the roster, it was around Peterson. I think Peterson is that special of a talent where he could be one of the highest, maybe like top 3 in scoring this next season. So I think he definitely deserves to be number 1. I do think people have kind of gotten a little lower on AJ just because of some of the Ace Bailey kind of, like notion, how Ace Bailey takes a lot of bad shots and they kind of want to get away from the archetype. I think AJ is a lot better than Ace Bailey, and I think he was better than Ace when he was only 16. I think he led EYBL in Peach Jam scoring 25.3 points per game at Expressions when he was only 16 years old. So AJ is just ridiculous. He's 6'9". He moves. He's so freakily athletic. He just moves a lot better than I've seen a lot of players his age or even in the NBA. He moves differently. He's extremely skilled. Honestly, kind of has like a little T-Mac in him. So I think he's just a very unbelievable shot maker. And I think for BYU, he's going to be another guy who can get to 20. And then I think Cam Boozer is probably the most like physically ready player college basketball is going to see. And he's only a freshman. And so he's 6'9", 250. He can handle the ball. He can push it in transition. He's a great passer, elite rebounder. He's not like the greatest shot creator, but I think for size-wise, I think he just needs to bang down. He's a great three-point shooter. He's been a 40% three-point shooter his whole career. So, I mean, and he's also the most acclaimed high school prospect we've seen. I don't know how much years. He's had more of his resume than Kay Cunningham. So, I mean, his top 3 is ridiculous. And I think some media, I guess, have been a little downplaying how good these three are. I think this is as special as it gets for a top three.
I mean, these three are all going to be the best player on a team that's top 10, top 12 in the country. And that's kind of where we're at with these guys. For me, I'm partial to Boozer being the best. He's probably going to end up being my preseason national player of the year if it doesn't end up being Braden Smith.
Yeah.
Just because I think at every time I turn on a player in 2025 against Columbus, I just see Cam Boozer like take everyone's lunch money. He's the best player on the floor, no matter who he's playing against. And he was so consistent. He plays like an NBA veteran as a high schooler, and now coming into college. I mean, not sure there's been a more college ready body for a top freshman in a long time. Those legs are tree trunks. He can get wherever he wants, and I think I like Peterson as my number 2. I think that the fact that he can kind of be your point guard now, that was not something that was always in his game. Now I think he's evolved into that. And for AJ, there's a lot to like about AJ, because the way you mentioned it, the way he moves, it is scary close to like some of those elite NBA engine wings.
Yeah.
And when he really locks in defensively, like he wants the smoke. Like he really does want the smoke. He's not shying away from guarding Darren Peterson. He's not shying away from guarding Cam Boozer.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that he maybe doesn't get enough credit for on the defensive side of the ball, because we know everything that he can do offensively. Jonathan?
Yeah, I think in terms of these three as high school prospects or NBA prospects, I'm fine with whatever order you have them in. They're 3 elite players. Sam, you and I were talking last night, just like throwing out names for players of the year in conferences, and like Cam Boozer was our ACC player of the year that we settled on. Darren Peterson was our Big 12 player of the year that we settled on. I can easily make the argument that AJ is the best of those 3 as a college prospect or NBA prospect. I think he's a special talent as well. So yeah, I think this is like those 3 are going to be kind of the focus of the national media attention this year in college basketball. Like those, those 3 are going to be like, hey, like those they're getting Sports Center.
Yeah, like we're going to have segments on First Take where Stephen A is talking about Duke against Virginia Tech because Cam Boozer played. He's going to be talking about BYU against Barrington Hargress because AJ Devonsta played. And we're going to get Barrington Hargress's name mentioned on First Take. let's make that happen, guys.
Yeah.
I think these 3 guys are, and I think that's also a part of where we are as a, not just college basketball culture, as a basketball culture right now. High school basketball culture and NBA culture are much closer linked than college basketball culture is to those. And I mean, you look at the stuff that gets talked about and the stuff that gets clicks. It's the guys that are the top high school players and the guys that are the top NBA players, more so than the guys that are the top college players, unless they were the top high school players that are going to become the top NBA players. And that's kind of what drives national college basketball discourse from non-college basketball people. And it's a shame, but when we do have 3 guys that can drive national college basketball discourse from non-college basketball people, I can't see how that's a bad thing.
Yeah, and just for the record, I have and it'll stay this way when I post my freshman rankings a week before the season. I have Boozer 1, Peterson 2, Devonsta 3 right now, and that's strictly as college players.
Let's talk a little bit more about Duke's recruiting class. They brought in a bunch of other guys, Caden Boozer being one of them, Dame Sarr, Nick Kamenia, Sebastian Wilkins comes in late as well. Caden Boozer is probably the next one to talk about because he has a chance to potentially be this team's lead point guard. It'll be him or Caleb Foster, most likely. Somebody else, that would be a dramatic surprise because that just doesn't make sense. But whether it is Boozer or Foster, they will probably both get a lot of run as a point guard for this team. Just, Jonathan, how good do you think Caden Boozer is, and how good do you think he kind of has to be for this team?
I think one of my hot takes with this class is that Caden Boozer, in my opinion, is the number one point guard in the class. Like, I have him over Acuff. I have him over some other guys who I do like. Like, I'm not saying I don't like these guys. I have him over Mikal Brown. I think I'm so confident in him, one, because obviously we've seen him play with Cam so much, and we understand how special the connection is. Caden is an elite floor general. I think he takes care of the ball pretty well, but his vision is what really has opened my eyes. And I think he just sees things that you know most point guards don't see, most players don't see. He understands where to be on the floor. He understands his teammates' movements better than anybody I've scouted, really. So it wouldn't surprise me. If I had to guess, I don't think he starts the opener for Duke against Texas. But if by mid-December Duke was the starting point guard for this team, wouldn't shock me one bit.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I watched Caleb Foster 2 years now and EYBL for Team Thad. He honestly, I don't think he has grown that much as a player in the 2 years he's been at Duke. And I know there's been some offseason buzz raving him in his growth, and he's obviously the most experienced player coming into Duke in this roster. But I don't see how Caden can start. In my opinion, I think he's started every single game in his life with Cam, and every single time he's played with Cam, they've never lost a championship, no matter what. And so they've always won games. Caden's a winner, and I think he does a lot of things that attributes to winning basketball. Obviously, you talked about playmaking. He's an unbelievable passer, but he's also an unbelievable on-ball defender. He can really defend, can play through passing lanes. I think the big swing skill is the shooting, but he actually was a pretty efficient catch-and-shoot shooter at 38.3%. He just can't shoot out the dribble because he doesn't really have a great handle. He's a functional handle. So, but yeah, in my opinion, I just think it's going to be hard that Caden's not the starting point guard for Duke. I get maybe to begin the season, but I think it'll take like 3 or 4 games. I would be very shocked. I think the most efficient offense they're going to have is with Caden and Cam at the same time. So I really like Caden. I think he's a great player.
And between Kamania, Sarr, and Wilkins, which one do you think will have the biggest impact?
Probably Sarr, I'd say. I think Sarr has grown a lot as a player. At one point, he was I just wasn't really a big fan of him when he was like 2023, for example, because he was super skinny and all he really could do actually was shoot, which is funny now because the shooting's a little inconsistent. But he's transformed his body. He's legit 6'8" now, 195 pounds, still on the skinnier side, but he moves very well. He's super fluid, very athletic. He just played a season with Barcelona's main team, which is the highest, I would say second highest, but most prolific European club in the world. And he was great. It was like 6 points per game, like 13 minutes a game. He had a good game in the EuroLeague. So he comes with a lot of experience. And I think for NBA prospect-wise, he fits more for the NBA than he does college. I think college will take some time to get adjusted, but I just think he needs to defend his ass off, which he's capable of doing. And he's also another guy where we talked about they don't have a lot of point guards. I know Caden Boozer and Caleb Foster probably going to run most of the offense, but it wouldn't shock me if Sarr was running some pick and roll reps because he has that ability. So I think Sarr is probably the number one. And then I'll put Nick at number 2. I like Sebastian Wilkins. I do think it's going to take some time, personally.
Jonathan?
Yeah, I think we're mostly similar on that. I'm really high on Hemenia. I think he does a lot of things that can help this offense. With Cam Boozer being the focal points, like the way Hemenia moves without the ball on the perimeter, I think can take away a lot of attention from Cam because he's a very good shooter. He's obviously got great size positionally and just generally. And I think just his basketball IQ is extremely high. It wouldn't surprise me one bit to see Hemenia be a pro in a year.
Yeah.
The Duke recruiting class, one of the top ones in the country. Kansas and BYU are the other 2 teams that brought in one of the top 3 players in the sport. Want to talk a little bit more about those classes. Jonathan, if you could go into what you like and don't like about Kansas.
Obviously, we mentioned Peterson, who I think like diving into his game a little more, he just makes everyone around him better. His basketball IQ is so high. You can't speed him up. He plays at whatever pace he wants to. If he wants to get downhill and go fast, he can. If he wants to come off a ball screen and really read the defense, he can. And that's in addition to being a plus shooter. I think the one for Kansas to watch out for, in my opinion, is probably Cole Rosario, even though I think Calderon might have a little bit of a more upside long term. But Rosario has played a lot in OTE this past year with, the Eli Ellis crew, Sam, who you just love so much. But I think the one positive that I want to really take away from him playing with that team is like the Ellis brothers obviously had the ball in their hands so much, so he learned how to like play without the ball. A lot of these like kids like don't really learn how to do that in high school. Whether that's just because like they're by far the best player on their team, or just like they're kind of buried behind like a bunch of guys that are just not playing a real system, like a lot of OTE. But Rosario actually learned how to play without the ball in his hands, and I think that's very good for a Kansas team that Darren Peterson obviously going to have the ball a lot. He's athletic. I think he's a plus shooter. He has NBA tools, and I'm not saying that he's going to be an NBA player, but the tools are there. I think with an offseason of Bill Self and that developmental staff, if he puts some stuff together, he can make a real impact for Kansas in year one.
Armand, anything on the Kansas class quickly?
Yeah, I was pretty much everything he said about Cole was spot on. I really like Cole, and I think for most kids, if you reclass, I think you have to. I wouldn't say reclassing is like too far fetched. I think if you're talented enough, you can play no matter what. And I think Cole's in that boat. I think he's ready to play. He's got a high major body since he was like 16 years old.
Oh, yes.
He's unbelievably athletic. I think he's ready to play. If I were to pick the next one, I think Mabaya might be more likely. Just I don't. He's really raw, but he's 6'11" with a 7'9" wingspan. That's not a made up number. They did the French combine. He was legit 7'9" wingspan. He's also got the largest hands in the whole combine. So like athletically speaking and like tools wise, he's undeniably there. I do think I know they overpaid for him a little bit. I don't think he's like that ready to play immediately, but I trust Bill Self enough to develop him. By the time it's Big 12 play, he's going to be productive, especially if you're that tall and that massive, and he has a high motor. I think it's going to figure out quicker than later. And then for Calderon, I think it's interesting. He's like a 21-year-old freshman. It's not just like a international player coming over and being classed as a freshman. He played at OTE last year. So I have a little questions. I would have preferred him to play last season in college. Even if it was like a Bryson Tiller. I forgot to mention Tiller because he redshirted. But if it was like that, I would have liked that more. So Calderon had a year in the system kind of developing. But I don't know. I think he's a great defender. Offensively, I have major questions with Calderon's game. But I think he's a good defender. He's got good frame. And I think they might need to use his defense. But I think I'm going to talk on Tiller, actually. I think Tiller is he's been hurt. He's been injured like 2 to 3 years now, like banged up. And then he ended up redshirting. So he kind of never had – he was like top 5 at one point and kind of regressed a little bit. So I think the big thing is if he can stay healthy, he gives Kansas the real X factor as a 6'8", can handle it. Decent post game, super athletic. So I think he'll be pretty solid.
Yeah, and then on BYU, it's mostly there's not a ton coming in the freshman class, but outside of Devonsa, Jonathan, I know where you stand on Xavier State, and if you want to talk about it,
are you gonna make me?
Do you want to?
I don't think he's any good. I think he's really uncoordinated. He's obviously got long wingspan, big kid. Shot blocking instincts. But I think he's really, really far away right now from being an impact guy. He might have to play just because of the way this roster's situated. So, but yeah, I think he's pretty far away right now developmentally.
Yeah, for BYU, that's kind of most of what their recruiting class is there's not a ton.
Yeah, I don't mind like Chamberlain Burgess. I think he can space the floor a little for them.
I think he's at JUCO actually, because he went for a mission and then he came back and they had no more spots. So.
Oh, okay.
So
he's still listed on 24/7 site. So I
yeah, and then so that's for the top 3 players and their classes.
Yep.
Another Big 12 team with a
Arizona.
big recruiting class and a bunch of top guys. Arizona.
Yeah.
Koa Pete comes in, as does Braden Berries. They also bring in a bunch of international kids of note, and CD Gay and Ivan Karchenkov. I've got to get that pronunciation
That's
down.
correct. That's correct.
Yeah, but I stuttered.
It's all good.
Forgot to mention Dwayne Aristote and obviously Bryce James, who is going to make a huge impact on
First Sports Center
sales, sure. Yeah. But this is a class that is one of the deeper ones in terms of top talent, bringing in not just one or two guys, but a bunch of guys that can really make an impact. Jonathan, I know you love Koa Pete, so I'm going to let you talk about Koa Pete.
Yeah, Koa Pete's the number 4 player in the class for me. I think he's really physically imposing, and I think he's really polished. He doesn't have the upside of a Devant or Boozer or Peterson, but I think average 16 rebounds at Arizona. He's a common body muscle on him. And he moves, I think, pretty well for a guy that says he did run the floor in transition. Not but good enough. You have to respect it. And then I'm a big fan of Braden Berries too. I think both of these guys are going to be really good for them right away.
Yeah, I think both of those guys definitely have to be really good for them right away. I don't think it's just they will, but I think that they really do have to, because that roster is kind of built a lot through the fact that they're going to need big time production from that. They have their bigs, they have Bradley, but they don't really have a ton of returning experience on the wing. They do have Del Orso coming back. How much can you get away with playing him? And also, how good is your team if he's like your go-to guy on the wing? So obviously they need Berries, Pete, Karchenkov immediately to be big impact guys. Armand, I kind of want you to talk about Karchenkov a little bit here.
Yeah, so Ivan I like Ivan a lot because he's kind of a learner of the game. So I think one thing that was like an uncharacteristic thing that I don't think people talk too much about. Freshmen who come in, he's actually a freshman age. He's only 18. I think he turned 19. But when he was playing in Bayern Munich, he would kind of like every single time he would make a mistake, he would talk to Carson Edwards, he was playing with, or like Devin Booker, but not the Devin Booker, just like another one. And he would always ask questions and kind of learn from that. And I think every time I watch him, he's always improved kind of his instincts defensively. Like at first he would kind of be too handsy and kind of be aggressive and defend and foul too much. As the year went on, his foul rate completely diminished, and as well as his turnover rate. So as the year went on, he grew a lot as a player, and he's kind of the guy you need on your team because he's always going to do everything else well outside of scoring. They don't need him to score too much because, as you mentioned, Koa Berries, that's probably 34 points per game combined potentially. And Jaden Bradley's going to score. Krivas is going to score. Toby's going to score. So Karchenkov just needs to really defend and play make and grab rebounds and hit a wide open three in the corner. And I think that's also Dwayne Aristote as well. He can do all that. I think Dwayne Aristote's I think he's a better prospect. I think Aristote's really underrated actually because he ended up getting hurt for the whole season. He would have been a 5-star top 15 player to play his senior year, but he didn't. He's super athletic, unbelievable frame, 7'3" wingspan. He's really, really good. And then CD Gay, super, super raw, but he moves super well. Like he's one of the best moving bigs I've seen in a long time. He just needs to really work on his
could
game.
play for them off the bench.
Could play like 5-10 minutes.
I think
definitely.
City might play for them off the bench.
Definitely a lot better chance than I don't think Bryce James is going to touch the floor. So
No,
he's terrible.
No, don't expect him to at all. I think Aristote they like because he'll come off the bench and defend.
Yeah, for sure. I think I think it's either. Honestly, feel like Arizona peaks is if Karchenkov or Aristote starts over Del Rosso. I don't want to talk too much on Del Rosso. I think he's a good offensive player, but he's a black hole defensively. So
same kind of thing with Caden Boozer, where like I think that Del Rosso starts the year in the starting lineup, and then Karchenkov or Aristote probably replaces him somewhere midway through the season.
I think so too. Yeah.
Houston's another top Big 12 team that's going to have a lot of responsibility on their freshman class. Chris Sinak, Isaiah Harwell, Kingston Flemings, 3 guys that are very highly ranked, 3 guys that will need to come in and make things happen. Sinak is probably going to get a lot of run in that front court. Harwell on the wing, and Flemings will be behind Milos Uzan. But I think John Rothstein might have tweeted out the other day that, like, hey, they might use Flemings to take Uzan off the ball a little bit. I don't know if that was Rothstein. I think I saw that somewhere.
Yeah.
That was a little surprising. I kind of thought they would really want to rock with Uzan as their point guard for as much as they can. But what is kind of the thought process with this Houston freshman class? What are you getting from these 3 guys in year one if it looks good?
You want me to go? Or?
Yeah, you can start.
Okay. I really think this is so. Out of the 3 players, I think you couldn't really find a better pairing with Calvin Sampson than these 3, especially Kingston Flemings. I think Flemings is a pass on the ball, and he prioritizes defense, especially, and playmaking. So Flemings just needs to gain a little bit more muscle, and I think he's going to be a great player. I think Harwell is by far I'm not going to say by far, but I think he's ready to be most impactful out of the 3. I actually think Harwell is very similar to Quentin Grimes. 6'6", long frame, pretty athletic. He had an ACL injury that kind of stumped his athleticism, but he's still decently athletic. And he's an unbelievable shooter. He's been like a career 42.3% three-point shooter. He can really shoot the ball on and off the ball. And then Chris Sinak's the big wild card because he's definitely an NBA player, NBA talent. He has extraordinary gifts, but sometimes he will drive me crazy with the dumb reads and kind of like the forced shots he'll take. And he tries to take a lot of off the dribble jumpers, which he wasn't efficient at all. So there's some stuff that Sinak needs work on, but I think if you give him a year, because he already has the defensive instincts and tools, he just needs a better motor. So it's kind of like, not going to say Khalil Ware, but it was a little bit like kind of like all the talent. He just needs a coach to toughen him up. And I think Calvin Sampson's that coach to kind of get him in the right direction before the NBA. So I love this freshman class.
Jonathan?
Yeah. Sam, I know you and I have talked about this before. Sinak is like the first player that's had like this rapid rise in rankings, like late into his 17U season, and and I've actually like the kid like as a prospect. Like Xavier Booker kind of had that, and like I didn't think he was any good at all. I think Sinak's instincts are tremendous. I think he'll come in and be a good shot blocker. You know, he's got to obviously learn the defensive system and kind of figure out what Houston's doing. Because like if you like, he might kind of be clueless offensively to start his college career, and I don't mean that like in a bad way. I think he could end up being a very good offensive player at the college level, even in the second half of his year. But I think defensively is where he's going to make a real impact, replacing Jawan Roberts and Javier Francis. He's got elite tools. Wingspan is off the charts. He's going to be drafted in a year. It's just the question's how high with him.
Yeah, I like Sinak. I think the ability to kind of make an impact on the game defensively is something that you look at and you say, yeah, all right, this feels like a Houston type of guy with the length and the fact that it's not all it's not all in the sense that he can't. It's not just all in shot blocking. It's in the fact that he can really kind of just use his size and he understands exactly how to use his size and use his body to put himself in the right place to not just block shots, but cut off drives and guard in other spots on the floor. And I think that's one of the things that Houston looks for.
I know we're not doing Houston preview, but I do want to mention this because like we're on the subject. I don't know how people don't have this team preseason number 1. Like they're crazy good on both ends of the floor, even with what they lost. Like these freshmen, all 3 of them, I think can impact the game. And, and obviously Bryce Jackson's more of a long-term project, but like they're still going to be able to shoot the ball. Like their defense is still going to be one of the elite in the country, if not the best. Like I don't see like when I see a poll that doesn't have them number 1, like I like ask myself what I'm missing.
I've seen polls with St. John's in Florida, which is like, I don't know what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way. And I think the big thing, too, about Harwell, I want to mention is, again, I think he's just the best shooter. If you sharpen him, or by far the best 2 shooters. But I think people are underestimating how good of a shooter Harwell is, and I think you had a guy who can be another 40% three-point shooter next to Uzan, with Sharp being that level of a shooter. Obviously, with the front court defense, is tremendous. It's the best front court defense in the country. Calvin's unbelievable. I don't know how you can't go number one. I get you can consider them not winning the championship, but number one preseason is. I totally agree on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Couple other guys in the Big 12 that we want to talk about. Tunde Esafu, one of my favorite freshmen coming in. I think you just look at the way he plays, and he's always around the ball. He's always making an impact. He can break you down off the dribble from the perimeter a little bit better than he could a year ago. And I think that the athleticism on the defensive end, I think he's probably going to step in right away and be one of the most impactful defenders on this team, which is something that they really need at Baylor. If you look at the last couple of years, he's going to be super important for what they do on that end. I think he could also end up being one of their top offensive players, if not end up being their best. If he hits his highest ceiling outcome, I think that you look at Yesufu and the growth that he's had over the last year, and I think that he's going to be a major impact player. If it weren't for AJ and Peterson, we could be looking at a guy that would be a freshman of the year in this conference conversation.
No, I agree. I think I was going to say, I think he's the best motor I've seen from a high school player in a long time. He's playing full court 24/7. No, he doesn't lose breath. He's always in control. Sometimes a little out of control, but for the most part, he has a clear cut idea what he wants to do, and it's the slash 24/7. But as you mentioned, Sam, his on ball creations kind of improved a lot, and he started to shoot the ball a little better. I wouldn't say he's a great shooter, but if you can get him like over 30%, I think Baylor's. I mean, I don't see who can outscore him if he's a 30% or higher three-point shooter. And they have some good scorers in Rataj and Obi, but I mean, I think he's tremendous. And yeah, I'm a big fan of Tunde's game.
Jonathan, I know you love Sean Abev at Cincinnati. I'll kind of let you talk about him.
Yeah, Tunde and Sean are both like personal favorites of mine in this class, and like I feel like I'll keep throwing out hot takes, and it might just be because I like this class so much, but I really feel that Tunde might be Baylor's best player. His motor is just off the charts crazy, and he's pretty skilled alongside that. Like, you go back and watch the playoff game from 2 years ago that they had against Sierra Canyon, and he just like took over the game and won it for him. But yeah, on the Sean side of things, Sam, you know, I didn't love like that he played OT this past year, because I felt like a lot of the things that like OT helps kids do, he was already there. Like, he's a good creator. He can knock down shots. I felt like he's more of a need to get better at the micro skills kind of thing. And I don't think there's a doubt that Cincinnati needs his offense. Like, he could have some games where it looks like really ugly, and you look at the box score after the game and he finished 2 of 14, 2 of 13, whatever it ends up being. But I think he also could have some games where he scores 25, 30 for them.
Yeah. Armand, anything to add on those two?
No, I totally agree. I think, yeah, to your point with Sean, I definitely agree. He might have a few 4 for 16, 4 for 15 type of games, but he might drop 35 in a season. And might be I would count out AJ and Darren, but he'd probably have the highest scoring game out of any freshman in the Big 12. But also, like, the Big 12 is so good freshman wise, it's actually ridiculous. Like,
yeah. And then international guys at Kansas State are going to have to make a big impact between Andre Kostic and Elias Rapik. Those two guys are going to – we talked about this on the K-State preview. Those two guys are going to have to be two of their better players, Armand.
Yeah. And I think – I mean, Tang has a vision for Elias, like a really, really big vision, is to kind of do a lot less than Coleman Hawkins on like self-creation, but kind of do everything else, rebound, pass the ball, defend. They just want him to be the connector of the team. Obviously, Haggerty's going to be the go-to scorer. And I think that's where Kostic kind of steps in, because I think Elias is ready because he's played in the EuroLeague. Kostic is a very streaky shot maker. Not really a creator, but a shooter. He's really streaky. And I think he's got the frame, and I think they really want him to kind of I mean, I really want him to grow as a self-creator, but I think realistically, he's going to be a tremendous shooter. I want to see him open up more playmaking, more defense, more like anything outside of shooting. I know he's a great shooter. I just want to see a little more on the self-creation and playmaking side of things that he's shown flashes of. I think if you get that out of him, I think he's got a chance to be really good. I do think I think he's going to take some time, at first at least. I do think Nate Johnson, he's going to be better off rip and as a defender as well. I just need Kostic to be a little tougher, and if he can slash to the rim and kind of assert aggression, I think that's going to open up a lot because he does have a great frame. He's got good size, 6'6" for a guard, so he's just not tough enough, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, this team kind of went from having too many bigs to having
zero,
not much in that department, so the size and versatility for Rapiq defensively is going to have to be there immediately on day one. I mean, you're not getting anything on the defensive side from Marcus Johnson or Abdi Bashir. So your wings aren't helping you out there. Johnson obviously being more of a 4 than a wing, Bashir being a wing. But they need some size to work out defensively next to Kamari McGriff. So Rapiq's going to be huge there. Anyone else in the Big 12 that you kind of want to go over, international or freshman?
Two more names from me.
You got two.
Okay. Yeah, two more names from me. Amir Jenkins at West Virginia, reclass kid, really can defend on the ball, like perfect for Ross Hodge. And then who was my other one? Oh, Caden Edwards, point guard for TCU. I think he smooth lefty, nice offensive game.
Okay, good. I thought we were gonna pick the same too. I'm gonna start off with is it cheating if I say both Iowa State guard freshmen?
Go ahead.
Oh no, I forgot about Torrey. I'm a fan of his.
Torrey and Jamari Bateman are like two polar opposites, but they're so awesome together. I would think so. I think he's like Keyshawn Gilbert 2.0 in that sense. He's like an unbelievable on-ball defender. He picks up the full court. I've never seen him not defend the opposing team's best player. He's always looking for that matchup. And then as an offensive player, he's a good athlete. He moves really well, and the shooting is improving. So I do think he's got a lot of potential. And then Jamari Bateman, hands down, one of the best shooters I've seen in the class. He's an unbelievable shooter. Can shoot anywhere. And I think this is an Iowa State team that definitely needs shooting. And so I think Bateman has a chance to start it too. So I really like the two freshmen that Iowa State recruited. And also I love TJ. So I think the development there is going to be unbelievable. And then for my second pick, I know that was a little cheating, but I really want to kind of highlight just one more player in the class. And that's Keyshawn Tillery at Cincinnati. I think Tillery kind of fits. I think it was a good thing that Jizzle James left, honestly. I'm not trying to nitpick Jizzle James too much. I just didn't think he was a great offensive fit next to Dade Thomas. And I think what Cincinnati really needs, especially if you have Sean Abayev, Sean's going to take a lot of bad shots. You need a guy who's going to facilitate for others and defend. And that's what Tillery does. And so I think he's a really great player.
Yeah.
Sam, one more little note. Taco Fawaz, I don't know how you pronounce it, at Colorado. Not like the biggest fan of him, but like just want to point out that if you like, he played against Staten at BYU last year, and if you watch those two play against each other, you would never have guessed who was rated higher.
Yeah. Wanted to talk now, kind of switch gears out of the Big 12. Stay on the point guard topic though, because there is a point guard in the ACC that we need to discuss in Mikal Brown Jr. and then also Sananda Frew for that Louisville team. Those two guys are going to be handed a lot of responsibility early. Brown and what might be the best offensive backcourt in the country by a good margin. It's 4 guys in that backcourt are just absolutely dynamic basketball players. Brown, probably the most pure point guard of any of them, and he can. And then Frew, obviously, as the big man for this team, will probably start on day one and have a big impact as well. Starting with Brown, Jonathan, there's a lot to like. There's also a lot to kind of nitpick with his game. But I think that overall, for what Pat Kelsey wants to do, just getting a guy that can move down the floor quickly, can shoot from anywhere, and has the ability to pass the ball as well as he does, to run that offense. It's kind of a really nice fit for Kelsey.
Yeah, I'm glad that you finally came around on him because he is a weird player. Like if you look past his stats from FIBA over the summer where he really gained national attention, there is definitely some weaknesses there, but overall huge plus for me. Fast, really can shoot. Overall great offensive fit for Pat Kelsey, like you said. Wouldn't surprise me, if he's the starting point guard. Expected point guard on day one at this point. And, I think defense will probably get picked on a little bit, but I don't think Louisville is going to be this crazy good defensive team either. They brought him in because he can play in that system. He can excel in that system. And I think he's going to have a very, very good freshman year.
I was gonna say, I think it'll be very surprising if he's not their starting point guard. I know Wooly's really good about it. I do think Mikal, like you mentioned, the best pure passer on the team. I'll go out and say I wouldn't say it's a hot take. I do think Conwell and McNeely are awesome. I think by the time it's February or March, I think Mikal has a good chance to be their best player. I think Mikal's growth has been understated, especially physically too, growth-wise. He was 5'11" 2 years ago, and he's 6'5" now is what they say. I don't know. I don't believe that personally, but he's at least 6'4".
Yeah, 6'3", that range.
6'3", 6'4". He's got to be at least one of those, not 6'5". But he's just an unbelievable shooter, and it's like a team with two elite shooters next to him, and he's as good as those two as a shooter. He's super explosive. He's gotten so athletic now. He can really pass. He's got creative vision. He can kind of shoot anywhere really, and I honestly think he's a pretty good finisher. I mean, he shot 60% of the rim in 3 SSB. I'm not gonna say he's gonna be like a 60% guy in the ACC, but if he's at least 55%, I think you get volume as a rim finisher too. So I think the biggest thing would just be defensively. How defensively adaptive can he be? I think the whole backcourt has defensive questions. I'm not gonna really pick on Mikal for that fact. But I think he's special, and then I think as well you have Sanana Faru, who is a rim runner, roll runner, who has really great feel offensively. Playing with that, I think, opens up for Mikal, but it's also you have Isaac, you have Conwell. Everyone in Louisville is really good offensively. So I think Mikal is probably in the best system out of any PG in the class, in my opinion.
And kind of going on to Fru, he kind of has to step in and be the anchor of this defense, right now.
Yeah.
This team, the other bigs for this team are Kashawn Pryor and Ali Khalifa. Neither of those guys are good defenders.
Oh, Big Z. No, I'm not gonna call him Big Z because Big Z's Illinois. But Zugars, yeah,
Another international guy.
That kid, I'm not gonna call him a kid. He's 21, but he has top 3 highest motors. He just loves basketball. You can see it on the film. You watch the film. Anytime he gets a stop, he just yells because he's so excited he got to stop. And it's every time he's just hustling loose balls, dive ball. So I think for him, I think Fru is going to be I think Fru has great hands. It's actually elite hands. I want to classify that as he's unbelievable hands. He's great defensive instincts. And I think the international front court pairing has to be defensive anchors because obviously we know I don't think Pryor is a terrible defender, but I do think he has tools. He just needs to be. He doesn't have the motor. I don't think Ali's going to be a good defender whatsoever.
And he's got the injury from last year that who knows how well he's moving. He already was not a guy that moved particularly well at that size. He kind of lugged his body around.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. I know Ali lost 40 pounds, but I'm not going to really put too much. I got to see it on film. But yeah, I think offensively, Pryor and Ali are going to offer. I want Pryor to do less offensively, just to note that. I really want him to do less. But
I think with this roster, he'll have to do less.
Yeah, which is great. It's awesome because I do not want him taking sidestep threes for no reason whatsoever. But yeah, I think Fru and Zugars are. I think that's a great pairing for Pat Kelsey's system. And I think it helps a ton what they provide. And then, I mean, just to throw out a limb, I don't think Louisville has a single bad player in the rotation, which is amazing to have in this day and age.
Yeah, it's important for Louisville. Another team that is going to need a lot from their young guys is Miami, because they do not have a lot of depth on that roster. There are a bunch of freshmen. There are a bunch of international players that really need to be impact guys for this team to make the tournament. Shelton Henderson and Dante Allen as a freshman. I like Henderson as a guy that really kind of fits with the Jay Lucas identity. This team is, this is a backcourt of Donaldson and True Washington that are two guys that can really guard. Henderson is another guy that is going to be a physical defender. I think that, so for that group, they're going to be a really tough team to score on for a lot, but they're going to need to have other guys come in and take some minutes, and that's kind of where Malavik comes in, and that's also where Altuntas comes in the front court when Ernest Uday can't play more than 22, 23 minutes, because you're not asking Ernest Uday to play 30 minutes.
Yeah. I'll speak on Timo. I'm going to call him Timo. I think that's his nickname. He was really, really good this summer for Slovakia. I know it's Slovakia, so it's not like the best basketball country, but he was averaging 23 games, shot creating, shot making out the dribble. I think as long as he is shooting 40% from three, which he's done his whole career, to have that is a premium in this team, because there's not a lot of clear-cut shooters on this team.
Not a lot of clear-cut offense on this team.
I don't think there's any shooting besides Trey Donaldson. So I have really serious questions with Miami shooting. I do love their defensive intensity outside of Malik, which is not a terrible defender, but I'm not the biggest fan.
He'll lead them in scoring.
Yeah, and then Shelton is I think Shelton's Dante Allen's a great defender too. I like the freshmen, the U.S. freshmen that they have, Dante and Shelton. I think they're both unbelievable players and winners. Yeah, but for the European freshmen, I think Timo's probably got the best chance to be productive. Altunas from Turkey, he's extremely big. He's like 6'10", 300 pounds. He's massive, but he's not very skilled, honestly. He's just been a bruiser in Europe, which is easier to do. Now you go to America, you play against high major athletes. It's going to be harder to kind of just do that essentially. And then they have he's not a freshman, but they have an Israeli kid who's 23 years old, who's been playing pro for 6 years. Not very good, but he needs to be something, because it means that he's a shooter, but like an inconsistent shooter. So I don't know. I think Miami
need everybody on their roster to be something.
I'm sorry. It's just so crazy to me that these kids, after playing 6 years of professional basketball, can come over and play.
That shouldn't happen. Like
they didn't relegate it. That was the problem. I think they had the ruling with Fedor Zugic, and they sidelined him for like 4 months, and he didn't play. And then he wasn't eligible after the season ended. But then they ruled him 2 years eligibility, and so they kind of just shot themselves in the ass, essentially, doing that.
I just think, like, the fact of the matter is, like, if you can play professional basketball overseas and then come play college basketball, why can't you play professional basketball in America and then play college basketball?
Oh yeah, it's because the NCAA actually has one rule.
Yeah, I know, but like the fact of the matter is, like, it's an NCAA rule. Why couldn't they have just made an NCAA rule for this too? Like,
they could have. They just, I don't think they cared.
And NCAA solving problems 3 days after they've already blown up in their face since 19 whatever.
Quick on the two American Miami kids. Henderson, I think, is an elite defender. Like, there was a reason, he was at Duke at once upon a time, because, right now Duke is slanting towards, like, if you're going to play there, like, you have to guard. Dante Allen was actually, like, one of the kids I really liked when he was, like, underranked, but I think that a lot of the sites corrected where they had him ranked. He played with the Boozers, like, so obviously a winning basketball player, but, like, does a lot of nice things on both ends, shoots the ball, can play with it in his hands, can move off the ball. And, like, I think he competes his ass off defensively too, Sam.
Yeah, totally agree, man. I love Dante and, like, Shelton as well. I think they help win basketball, so I'm high on those two.
Jonathan, I know you love SMU's recruiting class with Jaden Toombs in particular, if you want to kind of dive into that.
So Toombs is just one of those guys that, like, I think, he's not going to come in and, like, be an offensive juggernaut by any means and, like, make a huge impact. But, like, he rebounds the heck out of the ball, man. Like he's only like 6'8" or 6'9", I think 6'10". I think maybe SMU lists him at 6'11" now. But like you watch the film, I don't think he's 6'11". But he plays like it. Like he just competes really, really hard on the boards. I think he can defend. I think he can block shots a little. I don't think he's gonna like be a guy that you're gonna throw the ball in the low post to and he'll go score, but like he'll get offensive rebounds and putbacks that way. O'Neal, I think, is probably more of a project. Same with Davis Ray, but Toombs, I know they have Vigatoglou already there in the front court, but I don't think you're really dropping off a ton when Toombs goes in there for him.
No, you know what's funny? Not to leak too much information I've heard, but I've heard Salmon has struggled a lot guarding. Like because we know Salmon is not the strongest dude, despite him being 7'2". So he struggled with the physicality, which is great because I know Toombs not. I think he has offensive punch, but I don't think it's going to be as effective in the post versus college athletes. But to your point, like his offensive rebounding and then kicking it out is so underrated. I love when bigs kind of grab a rebound, kind of know where guys are in every single position. So his playmaking is really, really very underrated. And then to the rest of the class, I think Ray's by far the clear-cut project. Like he's never really been that good to me. O'Neal's a freak athlete, high motor, not a great shooter. And then for Nigel Walls, it's interesting. He moves like a guard, essentially, like a wing, but he's very raw.
Want to talk now about one of my favorite players coming in to the ACC and in Neopolis Abdallas for Virginia Tech.
Thought you were going to say Kyan Anthony there, Sam.
I mean, when Abdallas comes into Virginia Tech, it just completely changes the way I look at this season. This was a guy that would have been drafted in the NBA this year if he decided to go to the draft, probably as a second-round pick. He shined in the combine. There was a lot of buzz about him, and then he ends up at Virginia Tech. And this is a guy that right away I think can be a leading scorer, can be a stud on-ball offensive player. He's got good size on the wing. He's 6'8", so you're looking at a guy that can play at the 3 and the 4 and be your leading scorer, be a guy that can create off the dribble, be a guy that can hit some shots. And it kind of just all comes down to just how well is he going to be able to hold up on both ends of the floor as kind of as a high usage guy immediately. And I think that for Virginia Tech this season, he has to be really good, and I think he will be really good.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel confident he's going to be their point guard, actually. I like Pasha. I think Pasha can't really play that well off the ball, so there's probably like intrigue to play Pasha point guard, but I think you could split it. I don't see why they couldn't. And Hammond coming off the bench, I don't think Hammond's going to start this year. So Abdallas is he's always been a point guard. I think the way he kind of like understands and studies the floor, you can ask anyone who knows him. He's going to say he watches Luka 24/7. He's like the biggest Luka fan ever.
I can see that.
He even got the arm sleeve as Luka, like the tat. So yeah, it's very clear cut who he's trying to create. But again, he still does a lot of things that's different from Luka. Obviously, Luka, you can't compare anyone to Luka. Luka is 1-on-1. But for Neo, it's just, I think for him, like it's got to be just more of aggression sometimes, because sometimes he's a little too selfless. He's always passive sometimes in settings, and you'd have games where he might go for like 10 assists but only go for 6 points, and then you have games where he goes for 22 points but then 2 assists. So I think he needs to do a better job kind of creating both of that. And I think for Virginia Tech, they do have a honestly solid roster outside. Not a great roster outside of him, but when you have Neo, I think it's just they have a shot at the NCAA tournament just with him, in my opinion. I think he's an NBA player. I think he's going to be everything for this team. But I do think I do have some still concerns a little bit with his like rim finishing, and his shooting's a little inconsistent. But I mean, what freshman doesn't have like some flaws, you know?
Yeah, and then Virginia Tech's in-state rival is also going to have a lot of impact coming from international kids coming in. Thijs de Ritter, Johan Grunlow, that's a front court that can immediately be one of the best in the ACC.
Oh, yeah. I think not even a question. I think that's unbelievable that they got DeRitter to come to college. I've watched DeRitter since he was like 18. I never projected him to come to college when he passed 20 years old. So again, to John's point, he's crazy that they can come after playing in the ACB, which is a higher level than the ACC. So now you're kind of transitioning to I think DeRitter has a chance to be their clear-cut second best player. I think he's their second best player. I think I'd have Malik Thomas over him, but I do think he's a really good post guy. He's a bruiser. He's a lot more athletic than people realize. He moves really well. He can really defend too. That's another thing that doesn't really get talked about. He is really good on ball defense. And he's an offensive rebounder, offensive juggernaut. So I think he's going to be a huge player. Grunlow's more of the NBA kind of prototype big, a little bit more of a project than people realize, I think, too. And another player who can be really good. He's a good shot blocker, he can shoot. But again, another thing is a little too much 3-point oriented. Did last year, he was only like 33%. He was a lot more efficient. He was around the rim, but he doesn't have like the touch or anything of playmaking like a Tomislav Ivičić. So I'd say I don't know who I can give a comparison to, but I would say he'd be like a all conference player. I think DeRitter has an all conference ability. And then to throw in for the US freshman, I love Chance Mallory. I think he's super fun to watch and super fast, super explosive. He plays bigger than his height is. I'm excited to see what he looks like too.
Think of all the things that you would need to do as a basketball player at 5'9" to play at the high major level. He does all of them.
For sure. Awesome player.
Yeah, I look at DeRitter for me as a guy that's going to come in and just immediately be an adult in the room, and somebody who, and I think Thomas as well, and Dale and Dallin Hall too. I think there's a lot of adults in this room for Virginia. Even though Ryan Odom, first year coach, first time coaching at a high major, it's going to be, there could be some growing pains in that, and then it's year one. But I think they'll hit the ground running right away. I think this is a top 25, top 30 team because of the guys that they've brought in.
I have them 23, so I'm really I have them third in the ACC.
DeRitter kind of, I look at him as just a guy who can impact the game in every way possible.
For sure.
If you need him to score 25 on a given night, he'll do it. If you need him to grab 12 rebounds, he'll do it. If you need him to make some plays out of different spots, he'll do it. If you need him to be, if you need him to guard one of the other team's best guys, he'll do it. I think DeRitter, in terms of a well-rounded international player coming in, might be the best in the sport. I don't know just in general how many international players coming in are better than DeRitter.
I don't know. I wouldn't say
DeRitter and Abdalas are two of my favorites, probably two of the top 5 at the very least.
Yeah, I'd say Abdalas has definitely more NBA. DeRitter can't actually get drafted because they stated that rule for if you are eligible, you can't. But yeah, I think Neo is good. I think really, really good, actually. I think he might have some still growing pains a little bit early on, transitioning to a full-time point guard. I think there's going to be some like he has to figure out kind of the set and how Virginia Tech plays and how Mike Young plays. DeRitter doesn't need anything. I think he's always kind of just adjusted to the role he's been at. And he led an ACB team in scoring at 22 years old. And he wasn't even third or fourth in the usage because he's an unbelievable cutter, offensive rebounder. He just knows how to play basketball on and without the ball. And then with the ball, he was 18 a game, 10 rebounds, 3 assists for the nation in the under 20s. So I think for DeRitter, he's got a really clear-cut chance to be the best international. And I think it's interesting, too, because not to downplay high major basketball, I think high major basketball is very good, and I think it's at the level of a lot of these European leagues. So I don't want to go say he's going to dominate. I think it's unfair to the players who played college last year. But it's interesting because Tomislav Ivičić wasn't that great in the Adriatic League last year. He became an unbelievable player for Illinois. I think bigs have a higher success of translating to college because there's not a lot of great bigs in the sport anyway. Guards, there's a ton of great guards in college, so it's a little harder for guards. But bigs, I think DeRitter has a clear-cut advantage over a lot of the guys he's going to play against.
Yeah, I think I agree. There's not as many 7-foot guys as there are 6'1" guys in the world. And college basketball, a lot of the best big guys aren't. A lot of the best big guys are good at certain things, not good at everything.
Yeah.
And because if you're 7 foot and good at everything, you're already in the NBA.
For sure.
But a couple other guys from the ACC, just a little quick on North Carolina with Bogovac coming in and Caleb Wilson. If you like those two guys, you probably like North Carolina as a top 15 team. If you don't like those guys, you probably don't like North Carolina a lot.
Yeah, I actually like both of them. I don't have them top 15 just because I have a lot of questions with their backcourt center, backup center, just because I don't think Henry Vsar is going to play 35 minutes a game. And so if that's the case, is James Brown ready for it? I have no clue. And then Kyan Evans can't be a point guard for a legitimate top 20 team, in my opinion. So I do think they're going to do something like they split Luka and they split Trimble maybe, and even Derek Dixon, like they all have their own point guard reps. And shit, maybe they put Caleb Wilson a little bit, the experiment. I don't know. I really like Caleb Wilson. I think he's honestly grown a lot as an actual finisher. He's completely transformed his game, less of a point guard, because that was like the thing. He really wanted to be a point forward, and he's kind of transitioned to his natural position. And I think he's a very unbelievable talent with clear-cut NBA upside. And then Luka is like he averaged 15 a game in the Giant League, which for comparison, he played with Tomislav Ivicic last year. They averaged about the same. Then Luka took a jump and averaged 15 a game this year. I think it's a very easy shot that Luka just averages 15 a game for North Carolina. I don't think it's far-fetched if he can't do that. I think it's going to depend on how Heber Davis plays him, and I don't think it's best to put him in an off-ball role just because he spent 63.4% of his possessions in the pick and roll as a handler, as a primary lead guard. So I think he's probably going to be their point guard. But I don't like his playmaking. I think he's just really score first. And so he's a very isolation heavy player, which is not totally on brand with Heber Davis. So, I mean, I think it's interesting. I don't know. If Luka committed elsewhere, I'd be a lot higher. I do think they might have to ask for a ton off the gate for him. So, we'll see. So it's an interesting team roster.
Jonathan, what do you think about North Carolina and Caleb Wilson coming in?
I'm probably not as high on Caleb Wilson as like most people are, just because I think he's more projection than production as a freshman, at least. And like that's not to take away anything from his pro potential. I think he's just like kind of similar to Drake Paul in a lot of aspects, who like UNC couldn't get the most out of last year. Like I think if they defined a role offensively for Caleb Wilson where he's, a secondary, tertiary option, I think he'll be a very effective player. I just don't know if his upside's quite as high offensively as some of these other guys that are in like the same realm as him ranking wise.
Yeah. Kind of to keep going on the ACC, just kind of going to throw out a bunch of names. Anyone can kind of take it, popcorn reading type stuff. Muhammad Silla, if anyone wants to jump in and kind of go on him. Matthew Abel, Jalen Harrelson.
Abel, one of the top 3 to 5 shooters in the class.
For sure.
I think.
Yeah.
That's a team that's going to really need shooting because.
Oh, desperately. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We didn't mention him for UNC, but I do like Derek Dixon.
Yeah, I was going to say
decent. Very mature point guard.
Sadiq White.
It's Syracuse. Yes. Sam's favorite team. It's your school.
Yeah, go ahead, Armand.
I was going to say, not like, I really think, like I've grown to like Kyan Anthony a lot more than I have when I first started. I think he's got a lot better. And I think if Kyan's not shot chucking, he's a really efficient shooter. So I think Kyan's going to be productive as hopefully as a less on the ball creator. And then Sadiq White, unbelievable athlete, top 3 in the class, freaky tools. His motor just needs to be a little better, but I really like the freshman pairing that they have. I think
I like Sadiq White because I think Sadiq White he doesn't even have to touch the basketball and he can make a huge impact in a 5-6 minute spurt.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can kind of get away with playing him starter minutes because of what he doesn't do offensively. But I think the fact of the matter is he comes in right now, gives you 6 minutes of energy, gives you another 4 minutes of energy, then gives you another 7 minutes of energy. And you're just looking at a guy who's giving you a lot of energy throughout the game, putting him in for a spark because he can lock someone down. He can make a play. He doesn't have to touch the basketball to make an impact. Kyan, on the other hand, kind of needs to touch the basketball to make an impact because his game is about scoring.
Yeah.
And we'll have to see. I think his freshman season could kind of be
up and down,
similar to what it looked like Elijah Moore's freshman season was going to be early on, where it's like he'll pop up with some big games, but he'll also have some games where he doesn't do much, and that's kind of what I've been on with him for a while. I think Kyan is the type of guy that if he ends up staying a sophomore year, that's where you get to see a real breakout year. But I think he will win games for Syracuse this year.
Yeah, I was gonna say I just think he needs to just do less and he's gonna be effective. But I mean that's hard to take it from him because he took 43 shots in one game in EYBL last year, so probably not likely.
That light was very green.
I feel like Kyan's gotten the opposite rap from Bronny when Bronny was coming into college.
Yeah,
I feel like people were looking for reasons to hate on Bronny. Whereas Kyan, I think there's a lot of optimism around him. I do really like Sadiq White, crazy athlete, like Armand said. Sam, who are some of the other names you mentioned?
Jalen Harrelson, Ryder Frost.
Harrelson, I think, starts for Notre Dame.
He's got it, I think.
Yeah, it has to. But to the next player, I love Ryder Frost, by the way. I mean, he's a really good shooter, really, really good. And I don't know, Notre Dame has shooting, but I think he's probably their best shooter. And Shrewsbury can really shoot it, and Birdie can shoot it, but I think he's their best shooter.
Yeah, if you want to talk about Muhammad Silla or Brandon Storrs or anyone from that Georgia.
Storrs, I think is good. Don't know where the room comes in for him to play with this team because they brought in Cam Kraft who plays the same position and obviously is a lot more experienced. But I think Storrs is a 4-year guy. There's something there.
Right, yeah, we've got to move on and talk about some other conferences because. Yeah. We got to go a little quicker here. In the Big East, I don't think there's as many freshmen that can come in and immediately make an impact. Also, there's just probably not as many freshmen in the league in general. But Braylon Mullins, one of the top freshmen in the country. For me, for most people, the buzz this summer has been awesome. I think a lot of people are really excited about him. We've talked about him on the UConn preview a few weeks ago or however long ago that was. Now I think it's a month and a half at this point. But Mullins, he'll come in and immediately make a ton of shots. He can shoot from anywhere on the floor. He's really efficient inside the arc. He can give it to you on both ends too. So I think that Mullins right now, I don't know what his role is going to be. I don't know how much he's going to play. I don't know if he's going to be this team's second leading scorer, sixth leading scorer, because I think there's a lot about UConn to like in terms of who's going to be who's going to get. There's a lot of UConn question marks that have a lot of different confident answers, and I think Mullins is kind of one of them. It's it's going to be good. You just don't know exactly how good it's going to be.
Yeah, totally. And then Rabai's he's got really nice size and he can move, good footwork. He's not a great defender. So,
Furphy's another guy that's coming in with a bunch of balls. Had a really nice summer.
Yeah, Furphy can really, really shoot it, but he also can really understand. Really good playmaker, secondary ball handler. So I think it's likely Mullins. Obviously, I think Mullins starts. Rabai plays 15 minutes a game, and then Furphy spot minutes. But not to downplay Furphy. It's just they have so much depth.
Jonathan, I know you really like Nigel James, and this Marquette team is going to need him because we don't know exactly what Sean Jones is going to look like coming back from injury. They need as many guys to step up and be contributors as possible because they lost a lot from last year's team. They lost a lot of the scoring punch that they had last year, and they're going to need James. They're going to need a bunch of production from these guys that are jumping up. So, Jonathan, how do you think Nigel James helps Marquette right now?
Strong guard, even at his size. Kind of jitterbuggy. Kind of just made that word up. But yeah, I really like that Nigel James. I thought he was the best player for a Lehigh team that had a lot of talent last year, including Dylan Mingo, who is one of Sam's favorites in the upcoming class. But yeah, like with Sean Jones' injury, like if Nigel James was starting the Marquette's first game, that wouldn't surprise me. I think he's a college-ready point guard.
I was gonna say I love Nigel James. Like I generally love watching him play every single time. Like I always get happy watching him play. It's because what you said, he has so much great characteristics as a college ready point guard. He can pass, he can really defend. He's an unbelievable defender. He's a great athlete. He was one thing too. Like I watched the game against Columbus. Cam Boozer had one of his worst games that season. And Nigel James had 5 steals directly on him, just playing that. Because every time Cam attacks, he's going to always put his head down a little bit. So I think he understands how to defend every position, really. And he's not going to defend bigs, obviously. But if they kind of take him a little bit and he's watching, he's great hands. But, yeah, I love Nigel James. I think it wouldn't shock me if he started. I wouldn't say immediately, but in time, I think he's going to be a star.
Caden Lewis is going to have to be really good for Villanova as well. That's another point guard coming into this class.
Yeah.
What do we think of Caden Lewis and this Villanova team and where he fits and how he fits?
Yeah, super shifty, super creative. Offensive freedom is off the charts. It's going to be kind of like for his like NBA stock. Is it going to be like Jeremiah Fears or is it going to be like Judah Mintz? Because he's going to average big numbers regardless, but how efficient is that going to be? Questions, because he's always been a little streaky as a shooter. But again, if Devin Aston's your backcourt mate, I don't care about that team. Truthfully.
Yeah, he's not going to be very good.
No, not at all.
I love Matthew Hodge though. I think.
Yeah, I like Hodge.
I've said all offseason the best case scenario for Villanova is like Matt Hodge and Caden Lewis are your 2 best players.
Yeah. And then don't put Aston in the game whatsoever.
Just don't.
It could
Society progressed past the need for Devin Askew to play Division I college basketball a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's got eligibility. I know he has an extra year. It's just I wish he didn't have an extra year.
Kelvin OD at St. John's has been getting a ton of buzz this offseason. It's always funny to me because it comes right after Patino spent like the entire year last year saying, "Oh, I'll never recruit a freshman again." And then he brings in a freshman who decommitted from somewhere else, and he immediately
he was at West Virginia.
Yeah, from West Virginia. Yeah. That wasn't the point. He immediately starts talking him up as though it's the greatest thing ever. And he's a freshman. He's doing this, and he's going to be awesome as a freshman. He's like, didn't you just say like 2 months ago you were never going to recruit a freshman?
Dude, and then he got hurt in practice like a day later.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah. But it makes sense though because he's like super athletic, great defender.
He's the perfect fit for what that team wants to be.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm excited to see it. I wonder, not freshman related, but we'll talk about it if we ever talk about it privately though, their point guard situation. Do you want to talk about Providence, or do you care about their freshmen?
I don't really have any thoughts on those guys, but if you do, you can go.
I've watched him. Jameer Jones is like a weird basketball player, but like I think overall good. Like kind of a jumbo wing, like will like back you down, put it on the floor, put his shoulder into you, kind of player. Like I would guess he plays a decent amount for this Providence team.
I think he plays a lot, but I think the thing is he just can't shoot the ball, and it's so frustrating because he gets like Ben Simmons treatment, and he doesn't even attempt it. Terrible shooter. But he's a college high major ready body, but he's also a high major athlete, unbelievable athlete, and his playmaking isn't terrible. But again, I hate watching him put his head down, back down, and he just missed a lot of reads, and I think that's a little frustrating. But again, he is by far, and looking at the team, besides, I think he's a better athlete than Sellers, but again, they have good athletes. And then I think Stefan Vox is interesting from Estonia. He got hurt this summer, so he didn't practice with them, so who knows? But, I mean, he's very, very good. Probably dare I say, their best passer. I don't like Jason Edwards as a point guard, so I think they need him to be something as a freshman.
They absolutely need some playmaking. To Butler, where I think Xavier Robinson is going to have to make an impact. Jack McCaffrey might have to make an impact as well, because I mean, especially with Robinson, because that backcourt isn't particularly deep. I mean, I like Jackson, I like Biz Jack, but they're going to need other options there, and Robinson is going to have to step up and be that probably on day one. For Creighton, Hudson, Greer, they have a lot of talent on that roster. I don't know exactly how much he's going to play. Whatever he can give them, and I think he can give them some stuff. Whatever he can give them is probably a bonus at this point. Jonathan, do you agree?
Yeah. Robinson, to kind of stereotype a little, is like an Indianapolis guard, if you've ever seen one. Like, just fearless, going to the rim, puts his head down, runs you over, will play defense really hard. So I like the player.
Yeah, not a lot of international players coming into this conference. I think I think that's pretty much it for the Big East.
Najee Hines reclassed late for Seton Hall.
I'm not talking about Seton Hall on this podcast.
He played in EYBL and was like very good. I don't have like a real like strong opinion on him. He's a big body though.
I think he's like
a
player.
He's kind of
like he'll play well.
The one note on a Caden Lewis that I didn't say is like I think he's a better shooter than his numbers probably indicate. Like I think his 3-point percentage will actually go up.
It's just the shot diet. He just takes a lot of step backs, so that's pretty much it.
Yeah, Big Ten. Just kind of want to go through some names, popcorn reading style. We can jump in whenever with obviously just start with the Illinois guys, Petrovic, Mirkovic, those two coming in.
Do we think Petrovic is an upgrade to Jackashonis, right?
Yes. Not as a scorer, but definitely as a playmaker.
Yeah, like he'll take care of the ball.
They'll be able to do more things offensively.
Yeah, I think that helps too because I don't think it's going to be around the guard. It's going to be around Tomislav. So I think Petro, like honestly, besides Braden Smith, honestly, like his game is so eerily similar to Donovan Dent a little bit. It's just like he just slashes to the rim, super explosive, faster than the next best player, and he just makes all the right reads. He averaged 7.4 assists per game to only 1.9 turnovers a game, which is ridiculous. 50% assist rate in the ABA, which broke the record. That's absurd. I think he's ready to. It wouldn't shock me if he averaged like 7 or 8 assists per game. They have a lot of offensive juggernauts around him. Tomislav, obviously, easy 2 to 3 assists with him. I think Mirkovic is very intriguing, but again, it's interesting too because like Mirkovic can do a whole lot on offensive floor. Defensively, there's nothing. But I think that's going to be a question for this team in general, besides Kylan Boswell. So I guess Z is not the worst interior defender either. So
Mirkovic showed some stuff in the Hoop Summit, in my opinion.
Yeah,
he just knows how to play. I think he's always in the right time. Moving.
I think that you could use him in a couple different ways offensively.
Yeah, and then Keaton Wagler's been getting a lot of buzz recently. Are you buying or selling on Keaton Wagler, Armand?
I don't think you can even sell on him. I don't know if there's any like hype really outside of like Illinois fan, you know,
selling penny stocks.
Yes, essentially. But yeah, I think he just needs to be. I think this team desperately has no backcourt guard depth. I think it's clear as day. So as long as Wagler just kind of, he's always been like a really nice mid-range shooter. As long as he just defends, hits his shots, occasionally gets to the rim, like I'm on board if it's like 12 to 14 minutes a game,
I liked Brandon Lee at the Patrick School. It just sounds like Wagler's over him right now.
I guess so. Who knows?
Back to some more popcorn reading names to throw out there. Omer Mayer and this Purdue team. Mayer as a guy that really impressed in international games this year over the summer. Can kind of be a little bit – he is a point guard, but he obviously won't play point guard for Purdue because they have the best point guard in the sport. But they will find ways to get Mayer the ball. If you can have two guys working those ball screens together, and that'll just make Purdue's offense even more dangerous. Then for Hannes Steinbach, another guy coming in international, that was really impressive over the summer. I thought that for Washington, he could immediately be one of their best couple players. And this is a team that I really like. I think Steinbach is a big reason for that. He can kind of be a four or a five, probably best as a five. Really good rebounder, really, really physical player. Has versatility as well, though, that I think will kind of make him be able to play in more spots and more situations. So I think Steinbach will immediately contribute at a really high level.
I was gonna say he has really good hands too. Like that's like he catches everything.
I said earlier, De Ritter and Abdelas might be the two best international guys.
I think the Big Ten's got the
next in that conversation too.
I'll say Petrovic and Steinbach for sure, or like the other two. And Omar Mayer, not to downplay him, I think if you put Omar Mayer at Penn State, he probably would have been the best because he's unbelievable as a scorer and playmaker. The thing is, he's actually never played very well off the ball, ever. He played it for Maccabi this year. He wasn't that efficient. In catch and shoot situations this year, he only made 1 out of his 14 attempts, which is strange because he's a really good shooter off the dribble. So I'm going to be interested to see what he can do because his whole career has been heavy offensive, high usage on the ball. Playing besides Braden Smith is going to be like playing besides a EuroLeague guard, and he didn't have the best success. But I think under the system he's at, I think he's going to be really, really good regardless. And I think it's kind of unfair that, they gave Matt Painter Omar Mayer next to Braden Smith. It's really unfair, so to the rest of the league, so I think he's going to be – I think year 2 is going to be all conference level.
And then Mandequit also coming into Washington had a really nice summer.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say JJ's I love Kamari Peterson. I really think JJ should play most of their point guard minutes just because every time he's on the floor, he's always looking to pass. And I think if you have guys like Steinbach, Yates, I don't love Cloud on that team.
I didn't think they needed him, but I don't think
they didn't. Yeah,
there's a couple guys in this conference that I'm lower on as freshmen. But I'm like kind of already admitting defeat. Not admitting defeat, but like I understand that I'm probably going to be wrong. Mandequit's one of them. I'm a little lower on him, and then the other one is Trent Sisley for Indiana.
Yeah, Sisley.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I wasn't expecting much from Trent, honestly. So
just sounds like he's having a good summer. From like,
I guess they can use it. They don't. Josh Harris, I'm not big on, so makes sense. I was gonna say one more freshman for sure. Want to talk about because I've been like fighting, like defending him because everyone's like shitting on him for some reason. I talked to because they think he's fat. I think Trey McKinney's really, really good. Like I think he's unbelievably skilled as an offensive player. And this is a Michigan backcourt that they don't have any shooting in that backcourt. Like besides Trey, they don't have any shooting. So I think Trey has a chance to be one of their better shot makers in a team that doesn't have like a lot of great backcourt shot makers. So I love Trey.
Yeah, I think he's a good player.
I like McKinney a lot.
I think he'll step in immediately and be an impact player. I think Grady could also step in and make an impact too. And then
Sam, could I just like speed run some names that we didn't go over?
Yeah, definitely.
Trey Thompson at Iowa. I think he has a chance to play a decent amount. Darius Adams might start from Maryland.
Totally.
Didn't mind him out of Lalomere. Winters Grady is one of the best shooters in the class from Michigan. I think he'll come off the bench and play for them. Ricky Libbard is like a really underrated dude for me. He was committed to Coastal Carolina like before Michigan, and then he decommitted and Dusty took him. I think like that's a nice long-term piece for them.
Yeah.
Who else here?
Caden
Leo
Mingo?
Curtis, I think,
is a guy that I think Caden Mingo is going to step in and average.
Mingo might be Penn State's best player
because that team has no scoring.
That says more about Penn State than it does about Mingo, and I don't think.
But I like him a lot too.
I really think that Northwestern's class is underrated.
Oh yeah, Trey Singleton
with Jake West and Tyler Kropp. It sounds like they might have hit on him.
I like Trey Singleton. I don't know if you guys watched
Amari Bynum, I think, is like a really good athlete, but probably not a great basketball player yet. And then is there anyone?
Antoine West you wanted to talk about?
What'd you say?
You wanted to talk about Antoine
Oh
Watson?
yeah, it just sounds like they hit on him. Like, I mean, shocker, right? Like Panner finds it underrated, dude, and hits on him.
I mean, Zerno is going to have to be really good for Rutgers.
Oh, and Jerry Easter, that's the other one.
Yeah, Easter's really good too. Yeah, I was gonna say Rutgers need Haroon to be good. I don't think Haroon's great, and so I think he's solid. He can really shoot it, but he's more of a spot up role player.
Yeah, that's kind of what he is.
Yeah, not their superstar or star.
I mean, there's a reason he ended up at Rutgers after decommitting from Mike Woodson.
Yeah,
like it's not it's like when you're a guy at that size that can shoot. That's not something Rutgers has really had like last couple of years.
Yeah, for sure. I think defensively
it's important, but the fact of the matter is they also that team just isn't great. Like that roster is not built well right now.
That's probably the worst team in the conference. If
them and Penn State.
I was gonna say Penn State didn't exist, but I like Penn State enough where I'll watch them. I don't know if I'll watch Rutgers, honestly.
Last game of the regular season on Sunday, March 8th. Penn State at Rutgers.
Yeah, I'll probably watch.
Determines who gets the 17 seed.
At least they play in the tournament now, so there's something to fight for.
I don't think anyone wants to watch them play in the tournament.
Armand, any opinion on the Michigan State dudes? I actually haven't scouted them.
Oh yeah, I've watched both. I mean, technically there's 3 now because of Jesse, but I'm not gonna put him for now. I think Cam Ward's definitely the best freshman out of the bunch. Physically ready to play, super strong, decent athlete. But he was playing with Caden Lewis, and he averaged more points than Caden, and a lot of it was just pretty much banging down, kind of cutting, offensive rebounding. I think impact-wise, he's most ready to play because of his motor. Jordan Scott has the best long-term potential in the team. He's just very frail, very skinny, and struggles with physicality. But skill-wise, he's very intriguing. I think it's tricky, though, because Michigan State's roster is just very depleted, offensively speaking. So they're going to need both maybe to play as a freshman. So we'll see.
Yeah, move on to the SEC again. Just kind of run through some names here. Want to start with Darius Acuff for Arkansas. It's a lot of Darius Acuff and Malik Thomas, those two guys. We're going to have to see how they play together. But I love Acuff's game. I think he's one of my favorite point guards in this class. I think he gets to the basket. I think he's really, really dynamic on the ball. I think that the way that he can kind of manipulate a game, the way that he can score with the ball in his hands. And I've liked it for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
I think he has a chance to be one of the top scorers on this team for sure.
I was going to say, I think I forgot Card Knox is back. I didn't forget. I wasn't thinking about it. Yeah, if it's not Card Knox, it's definitely Acuff, 100%. I think Acuff's change of pace is unbelievable. Like, he can just manipulate defenders any which way. Like, he's really, really good at that. The only thing I don't love about Acuff is he takes so much bad isolation step back threes, which is just
not great.
It's just a knock. But I mean, he's a tremendous.
But I do think that like a guy like him playing for Cal, like that is the type of system that is the type of coach that has had success with guys that with point guards like that before. I think
he's had success with players worse than Acuff, and so I don't see it not like. I'll be surprised if he's not averaging like 16 or more.
I think that's just for Cal and for Acuff a good fit. And like you're not catching me calling a lot of guys in 2025 great fits for John Calipari. But I
don't think Malik's a great fit to pointer Malik out.
They needed shooting, and like I feel like Acuff and Malik probably give them a little of that.
Malik definitely gives them shooting. I just don't know how you're gonna have the usage for Acuff, then the usage for Knox, and Wagner, and then the fine usage for Malik as an on-ball creator because he spends most of his time trying to create.
Yeah, he does.
So we'll see.
We've kind of discussed Nate Ament plenty on this podcast. We talked about him earlier on the Tennessee preview. Armand, if you want to mention anything about Ament here.
I was just saying. I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't have number 4 personally. Like everyone has a number 4. I think long-term NBA upside. Totally, I agree. Do think Kobe is better, but I do think Nate has grown tremendously He's a legit 6'10". He can really handle the ball. He can really shoot out the dribble. He's pretty efficient, actually, shooting out the dribble. I think his best games are going to come as the season grows. And I think for Tennessee, the SEC, it's definitely the most physical, most challenging level for guys who aren't great athletes. I think Nate's an all-right athlete. I don't think he's anything like exceptional, like an AJ, for example. But skill-wise, incredibly skilled for a 6'10" guy, and I think he's probably going to be outside of Jacoby, their offensive engine.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest on Amen, but I mean he's got to be good. Like, they need him.
They need him to be good. Else they're not going to be great.
Yeah. More guys in this conference that we got to talk about. This Alabama class with London Jemison and Amari Allen and Davion Hannah coming in. I love Jemison. I think he'll come in and immediately make an impact in the transition game. I think that's where he shines, and I think that's where Alabama really wants to get out and run. That's a team that plays fast and plays in transition. So I think that's a really nice fit.
Yeah, Jemison's my favorite of this Alabama class. Yeah, I just think he's really nice upside, probably like ready to play too. Yeah, I think you said most of what I wanted to, Sam.
Yeah, moving forward for Mississippi, Ilyas Kamardine comes in, international guy. They got Nico Bundalo as a freshman as well. Kamardine probably steps in and immediately has to make an impact because he is another one of those international adults in the room.
Oh, I was going to mention, I forgot about Elias when we're talking about he's there, top 5, like most ready to impact. Day one, I think he should be their point guard. I don't think Corin Johnson is a bad point guard, but I would prefer Elias as their main point guard. And I think the only thing I'm worried a little bit about Elias is he's a great finisher for his frame, but he is frail. He's never really grown that much muscle over the past 4 years. He's just extremely skilled, extremely high IQ, can really make guys better around him. And I think for that Ole Miss team, they probably need Elias to be more of a facilitator than a go-to scorer. I think Malik Dia and Store might score more.
Yeah, I think he'll impact the game defensively for sure.
Sam, I have to leave in a couple minutes. Can I just speed run a couple?
Yeah, that's what I was kind of going to ask you to do here. Kind of
Okay.
take it through the rest of the SEC.
So yeah, let's just go and talk about a couple of these guys. CJ Ingram, I think, can really make an impact on the defensive end for Florida right away. Kareem Stagg is just a football player that is playing basketball. Dude is absolutely jacked. Should be playing linebacker somewhere. I really like Malachi Moreno. He's way more polished than I thought he was going to be. Really nice touch around the rim, rebounds, block shots, good instinct. Maybe not the upside of a guy like Sanak, but I think with Quayton's out, potential to be the best center for this group. Jasper Johnson can shoot, but I think needs to clean up his shot selection to be a real difference maker. Who else here? I need nobody from Miss State. Mizzou guys, obviously, where I went to school. Not super high on either of these guys. I actually think that Xavier Wilson for Kansas State was the better of the two guards at Colton.
Yeah, I watched a lot of the games. Rowe reminds me of, I don't know why, he reminds me of Eric Gaines coming in. Just super athletic, but doesn't really know how to play basketball.
Yeah, agreed. And then Randall's undersized, but pretty good body. I don't think he'll play a ton. Alec Blair is really interesting because he's a better baseball player. He'll be a professional baseball player, but actually think he's a pretty good basketball player too. Can shoot.
For sure.
That's Oklahoma. And then is there anyone else? Sam, I know you banned me from talking anything to do with South Carolina.
Yeah.
Not that I want to begin with. Amari Evans for Tennessee.
Yes.
The perfect Rick Barnes wing. Everything you want to replace Jemai Mashak.
I was gonna say I was gonna talk about Amari Evans. Not a crazy comparison, but he reminds me of Dennis Smith Jr. Transitioning into a defender, just a linebacker kind of frame, on-ball defender, pest. Not a good offensive player. Really not really great. Really bad offensive player, but he's a tremendous defender. And I think that's a team that needs defense. I mean, they have great defenders, but they need an elite defender. I think he's ready to play. I'll throw in 2 more freshmen that I want to talk about. It's honestly just an Auburn. I really want to talk about Magwood and Jovic. And
Yeah, we got to talk about
Yeah,
Jovic.
I missed
I
that.
gotta talk about Jovic because of my last name, obviously. But I like Magwood a ton. First off, because I think he's just an unbelievable shot maker. I don't love his playmaking. I don't love his defensive intensity. I think he's a lot of things that he needs to clean up personally. Scoring wise, he's an unbelievable scorer. So if he can clean up other things, I think he'll be productive for Auburn. I love Jovic a lot just because his motor, super athletic, can defend really well. And he's just going to be an important piece of his team that definitely needs some front court scoring, and he's able to do a whole lot. So I think those two are going to be really impactful.
All right, and Jonathan, before you go,
Yeah, can I just rattle off some like mid-major names?
Give you 2 minutes.
I need just
anyone
like
in the country, and then I'm going to have Armand.
This is good because I just need a place to like put receipts. So
I know exactly who you're going to mention first.
So I'm going to start with the guys that I actually have ranked that aren't at high majors. That's Davis Fogel for Gonzaga, Nick Lewis for VCU, who else? LZ Harrington for San Diego State, Dylan Shaw for St. Mary's. I like Preston Fowler for James Madison. He was a Brewster Academy kid. Like I legit think he's like a high major player that's going to be in the Sun Belt. Naz Meyer, who's going to Wyoming, I really like.
Yes, totally.
Good. I love PDT. Armand knows these guys, so like, when he's agreeing with me on mid-major guys, I'm very pleased. I like Jared McKee at Dayton, and then now we'll move into some of the guys I have like off the board here. Let's see. We'll start Valley. Matthew Zobrist at Bradley can like really shoot the basketball.
Shoot it. Yep.
Saw him play in person. Sam alerted me to this next guy, Kavere Kennedy, who's going to Merrimack, right, Sam?
Yes, Merrimack.
Guard out of the Philly Catholic League. Jacoby Coleman at Sam Houston State, I think is a high major player that is going to be in the CUSA. Luke Walsh, who's going to Southern Illinois, another Valley kid, like one of the best shooters in high school basketball, had multiple games in like a good St. Louis basketball league where he scored 50 this past year. Like just can score against anybody. Who else here? Bradley's just got such a good class. Ty Tabalis at Bryant. That New Hampton team was just had so many dudes to like. Anyone else that I want to throw out? JT Pettigrew at Valpo. I like Trey Simpson at Kennesaw State.
You still haven't mentioned the guy that I thought you were going to start with.
Who was the guy I was going to start with? I probably forgot him.
Onyx.
Oh my God, I totally missed him. Yeah, Onyx Nani, I think is how you pronounce it.
Yeah.
At South Florida, he's like really raw, but like he's a top 50 player in this class for me. I think that was like an absolute steal by Hodgson to get him.
Yeah, and he would have had him at Arkansas State.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, he would have. Yeah. I just skipped over him. I like totally missed his name on here. Trying to think if there's.
I'll let you go now.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if there's anyone else. Just looking through this real quick. Bradley Longcar, who's going to Santa Clara. I like out of Quincy, one of the top schools in Illinois. So yeah, that'll do it. I got to head out. Hey, Sam, always a pleasure. Armand, thanks for coming.
For sure. I'm glad we talked.
I'm going to run through some names as well that I like. I don't know just kind of running through some leagues right now. I don't know where the opportunity is coming from, but Devin Booker at George Mason is a good player. I think he'll make an impact at some point. I think Jonathan mentioned Kennedy. I love Kennedy's game. I think there's a bunch of guys in the MAC that can really make an impact as a freshman. Kennedy probably being the main one, but DeAndre Lindsay at Iona, Abdu Yad for Sacred Heart will make an impact for sure. He's super physical, super big, doesn't look like a freshman whatsoever.
Totally.
Comes in and he'll make an impact for sure. And then there's I think those are probably the main three out of the MAC.
I was going to say Christian Jones.
Yeah, Christian Jones. Forgot about him. It's just I don't know how much is he going to play with Justice Schultz there. But Jones, there's some really, really good buzz about him. I love his game.
Yeah.
Those are kind of the main guys out of the MAC. Jonathan wants me to mention Roman Damone from Murray State.
Yes,
He forgot to mention him. Jonathan is obsessed with his game. He's awesome too. So yeah,
I was gonna say I think Damone's probably the freshman of the year in the Missouri Valley.
Yeah, he's gonna be up there in that conversation.
I don't even know how they got him, honestly, because he was really good for a really good pro league. And
yeah, I'm gonna go Martin Kalu for Charleston. I think is gonna be really good.
Yeah,
I think he's really talented. Will step in right away, be impactful on a team that's got a lot of older guys that are really good. So the fact that he'll step in and be an impact guy immediately is huge. So those are a couple of the key guys that I've been looking at. There's some more in the A10, I think. Lenati at St. Bonaventure. He'll be good.
Yeah.
Jonathan mentioned Nick Lewis. I love Nick Lewis. I think he's going to be really good.
I always thought it was yeah.
Yeah,
I always read his name as Nike Lewis. I don't know why.
If you go to the Patriot League, I think Sharif Jackson is going to make an impact for Lafayette. Guy just wins. I think Lafayette needs that element of physicality with Vanderbond gone. I think he can bring that for them. Trying to look through these leagues, see if I'm forgetting anyone. Jonathan mentioned a bunch of guys. I don't want to forget Mario St. Superi at Gonzaga, another one of the top international guys coming in.
Totally.
I love Braden Smith, so I don't know if I think Mario is going to be one of the. I don't know if Mario is going to play as much as Smith, more than Smith, with Smith, but I think that those two are both really good guards for that team. I think it's the key to kind of get them working. Jonathan mentioned Dylan Shaw. Dylan Shaw's really good.
Totally. Yeah, I love Dylan Shaw.
That's most of the guys that I have off the top of my head. If we can run through some other guys that you like, international or freshmen, who do you really like?
Yeah, I'll throw in go quick. I'll go I'm looking at each conference. I'll just throw in a few names I'll start with the American real quick. I want to throw in two guys at FAU. I think they had a really good freshman class. Johan Sissoko from France, really shifty, really creative, really good point guard. And then really like Josiah Parker, super athletic, strong frame. I think he's going to be really good for them. Raul Valera at Charlotte, steady point guard. He's going to make a lot of defensive plays for them. Offensively, he can pass. I think he's going to be really productive for them. And then, I think South Florida have a really nice freshman class. I just don't think their freshmen play too much. They're really good.
They've got a lot of veterans on that team. That's a team with 5, 6, 7 seniors that are going to be really good immediately.
A lot. And then, I'll go. I think the American doesn't have that much great freshmen, but I think the A10's got a few good ones. I think Davidson has a nice one. Ian Plateau. Spanish kid. He can pass. He can rebound. He can play in the post. I think there's a high chance he's their starting center. I think they need center. I think he's going to have the impact like Latonk had last year. Just be a really, really good freshman big for the conference. I do think – I don't know where he plays because they have a lot of depth, but I do like Nick Anderson at Loyola Chicago. Super athletic. He's really can defend, and he's a solid shooter. I think he's going to be a guy who plays a little bit for them. And then to throw in at least one more from St. Bonaventure, not named Lenati. I think maybe two, honestly. I really like every single player that Woj is recruiting his ass off. I think they had a really nice team. But Andrew Owasui as a backup big could be really intriguing. He's just gotten so much better as the years progressed. And then Ilya, I don't know how to say his last name, but he's Max Shulga 2.0. I really think so.
Okay.
Max Shulga struggled a little bit off the jump. I think that might be it.
It took him some time.
Yeah, it takes some time. I think he could be that. And then we'll throw one more because I have to. Duquesne, Dom Akins. He's one of the most exciting small guards in the nation, in my opinion. Quickly with the American East, I actually like the American East always. I like just watching the American East. I think Ty Tables, John mentioned him. Really, really good player. He shouldn't be in at Bryan.
Lucas Mari. Lucas
Mari. I was gonna bring it. Yeah,
but Lucas Mari. I don't if he's as good as they say he is. This is a player of the year type guy.
Yeah, it's funny because I I don't know how much money is in the American East for Spence, but I know how much he got. That's a ton of money for Vermont to spend on a point guard.
Well, Vermont probably has the most money in that league by a margin. So
yeah, but still, it's still incredible they got him.
I do think I heard like at some point earlier this offseason, like there was a wild number thrown out, but like Mari is the guy that played at a high level, can immediately come in, run the show, great size for a point guard, can score, can pass.
Strong body too. Like he's really strong. So
yeah,
I'm excited.
At that level, if you're 6'5" and a point guard, you're automatically a good defender for the most part.
For sure. Yeah, I think it's going to be a different style of competition, but I think it's going to be honestly easier for him. So I really think he's going to be really productive off the gate. The Ace Sun always has like a 2 or 3 freshmen that pop, and I think this team is going to have a good amount, but I'm just going to throw in 2 or 3 guys. Queens, Isaiah Henry, he was really solid at OTE, super strong athlete. There's no way he's not playing big minutes for them, especially because Bryce Cash is not on the roster anymore, which is crazy.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, last second, he's not playing anymore, so he might start, which is it'll be interesting to see how he adapts. I really like Florida Gulf Coast. They have 2 guys, Jordan Ellerby and Gabe Tanner. Tanner played at the team Xavier Lee and Tommy Howe played for. He was really good. And Jordan Ellerby is super explosive, really good shooter. I think he's going to play a good amount. So, and then J.R. Leonard at Stetson's pretty good shooter. Big South, quickly throwing 2 guys. Got to throw in Frederick Eriksson from Denmark. Talk about tall point guards. He's actually a 6'9" point guard. He averaged 6.3 assists per game in the under 18s. I don't know if they needed to play point guard because they have so much guard depth, but
they got a lot of guards.
I mean, if he plays any type of pick and roll, I think he's going to be really effective for them. And then
they spent a lot of money this offseason.
Oh, you can tell they spent like at least $2 million.
This is probably, aside from High Point, the most expensive roster in this league.
Oh yeah, no question. That's a lot of money's put into it, and as well as I like their other backup big, Gabriel Ferrara from Brazil. He's just super athletic, twitchy. He's really raw, but I like what he can bring to the table. Quickly with the Big Sky, I'll name like 2 at least. One of them, Alan Galablo from Eastern Washington, probably mispronounced his name. 6'7", 260 pounds. He's just unbelievable. Like
that's size that right away you can see how that makes an impact at that level.
Oh yeah, for sure. He's going to be, I think, really really good. And honestly, that's probably the only freshman I want to talk about. I think this is maybe, I'm just looking, but yeah, this is a weak freshman class. Northern Arizona has 1 kid, Chris Coleman. He's pretty athletic. He's been playing with Elijah Harrington and Brandon McCoy. He was pretty productive, so maybe him as well. Big West is good freshman, in my opinion. They always do, so it's not a shocker.
Great league, really fun league.
Oh, I love watching them every year. So here's one guy that I cannot believe he was listed this height. Jess Eso from France. He's 6'10", and that doesn't mean anything because obviously that's like normal height, 6'10". But he's apparently, I know it's not apparently, but he's going to be their point guard or like going to play a point guard for them sometimes. 6'10" is crazy for a guard. He's actually moves really well. I don't think he's 6'9", but 6'10", but that's what they say he is. So who knows? Maybe he grew. I like Hunter Carter at Hawaii. Really, really good shot maker. I think he can play a little bit off the bench. They have some good guards already. Omar Sulovic from UC Davis is another guy who can play. 6'8". He's probably the tallest player, I want to say. But he's not going to be the 5. He's going to be the 3. He can really shoot the ball. I think he's just a clear-cut, ready to play kind of guy. And then I got to throw in Tama Isaac, UC Irvine. It's kind of unfair that you have Darren Saran and then you have Tama Isaac, who pretty much is like the same exact player. He's going to be really, really good as a pure passer. And then last guy I want to throw in, 2 actually, same team, but I'm going to throw them as 1. CJ Shaw and Michael Sacombe, UC Santa Barbara. Embarrassment of riches to have those 2 as their backup shooting guards, power center. I like both of them. Really, really good players. So that's the Big Sky right there.
That's the Big West.
Quickly touch on the CAA. I love you want to touch on anyone in the Big West or no?
I think you hit them all. With CAA, Kalu is kind of the main one that I look at.
To
be
for sure.
Really good from day one. I think
I was gonna say, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I also think that Preston Edmead at Hofstra is gonna have to be a contributor. And I liked Jaden Roberts this summer. I don't know if he's the guy. I didn't think of him as someone who would be playing college basketball this year because I was watching him when he was 26. Reclass is 25. Between Roberts and Edmead, I think that they're going to get some production out of that depth spot. Because next to Cruz Davis, they're going to need some more in that backcourt for sure. So I think they'll get some stuff out of that. Just trying to look at what else there is. I don't really have any other names to shout out in this. Jaquan Womack at Towson, I think is good. Played for some really good high school teams. A guy that can kind of make an impact with some size. I don't know how much they're going to need him to play because that's a really good team. Yeah, I think he's good. So yeah, those are kind of my main guys out of this league.
I was gonna throw in two. I want to say two more in this conference real quick. First one, DeMarco Johnson, who's going to Elon. He played at Oak Hill. He's really athletic, shifty. I think his team does not have any really good guards on the roster, so it wouldn't shock me as a freshman. He played some big minutes for them. I think he's totally capable of it. Obviously, Kailu is by far the best freshman, and Kailu shouldn't even be at level, but it's Charleston, so they have the money to get a guy like that. And then I want to say Yusuf Chirore, who's not on the roster, but he's not technically on the roster for Campbell, but they have him. They're just working through the loopholes of the NCAA. He averaged like 17 a game, 10 rebounds, and like 3 blocks per game in the under-19s World Cup playing for Motley. He's a physical. He looks like he's been playing pro. But he's never played pro. He looks like he's been playing pro for 10 years. And then also Dan, the other center Campbell has, he's just a monster size-wise. So I think it's interesting to see if Campbell oriented freshman centers to run their offense, or they just put Buka at the 5, which Pepperdine did. So
yeah, and CUSA, it's Jacoby Coleman's the first name that it really comes to mind. I think he can really score, just high level scorer right away.
Totally.
Like in CUSA.
I like Trey Simpson. John touched on him. I've watched him first when he was a sophomore. He's honestly gotten a lot better. He played with McKell this year. Super athletic. It's Kennesaw State. They always have elite freshmen. I think that he's going to be one of the better freshmen in this class. If you want to talk about fun, I don't see how he plays honestly, but the Argentinian kid Sukowski, he played the World Cup. He's like 5'9", maybe even smaller. He's just so fun to watch. I love when small guards are just like creative and just throw behind the back passes, but he just needs a lot. Like he just can't defend. So I'm a little questioning on it. Delaware, I'd love Mason Ellison.
That team might need a spark at some point.
Which one, FIU or Delaware?
FIU. I do think that backcourt like overall is maybe not awful.
Yeah,
but that like they might need a spark and they might need to turn to him.
I hope so. I was gonna say two more. Mason Ellison for sure with Delaware. Elite athlete. He was really, really good for NCAA Academy when I saw him play. So I think he's going to be pretty impactful as a freshman. And then I think of one more. Or I was thinking of one, but I forgot he played his freshman year. I was thinking of Javon Carter. I thought he redshirted at Penn State. But yeah, no, we'll go to the next conference, which surprisingly has got a fun conference usually.
Yeah, I don't think I have any names off the top of my head in this league.
Yeah, I'll throw in some then. Starting off with Detroit, maybe biased because I know this kid personally, but Keyshawn Fisher, who's like a 6'7" guard/forward at Detroit. He can defend multiple positions. I think he's just going to be a really impactful player for Mercy, and I think Mercy's always had a good track record with freshmen anyway. I think Steven Lam, another Michigan kid, maybe a little biased because I watched more Michigan than most other high schools. But Alam is a really, really good shot maker, really strong. He can really shoot the ball. I think he's going to play as a freshman. One of them, Ethan Elliott at Northern Kentucky. He's like 22, 21. I don't know why he's listed as a freshman, but he's played in Australia, averaged 20 a game, 7 assists. Don't think the team has a clear-cut point guard. I guess you could put Dan at the point, but I think he's going to be someone who plays. EJ Mosley at Purdue, Fort Wayne, super shifty, super electric. He kind of reminds me of a skinny, not really developed Darius Acuff, which is not good to compare someone to a freshman his age, but just to throw out a comparison I had in my head.
Yeah,
and then
not a freshman, but Didn't play a ton last year. And Dion Nessa.
I know you were going to say.
For Cleveland State. Had a huge summer for this team. Will probably be one of the better players in the league.
I think definitely he's our best player. I think so for Cleveland State, because I don't think Cleveland State's roster is any good at all. Not to throw shade at Rob Summers. Rob Summers is going to be interesting because they're going to run all offense. It's going to be all offense, no stop, no drive. And so Dion Nessa's all that. Like, he's super explosive, just aggressive. So he can be like a 16, 17 guy just slashing at the rim. To throw in one more, I have to love my Indiana hoops. Michael Cooper at Wright State really, really can score the ball. I think he's going to be pretty good. So quickly with the Ivy League, and the Ivy League always has like at least 2 freshmen that are just like unbelievable.
Yeah, I don't know if this year's class is.
That's what I'm saying. I was going to say they don't. It was so clear last year. Like, Rob Hinton was easy. I think Connor was easy for me to guess. The year before, Malik Mack was. I wouldn't say like I was completely on that, but I knew he was going to be good. He surprised me a little bit more. But this year, I didn't really have like a clear cut. He's going to be really good. I guess for Harvard, Alex Tumano. He played with Nick Lewis, and then Grodak and Dixon. He was really, really good. So I think for Harvard, I don't know. Thomas Baddies has always been solid, but I think he's got a chance to step up, I think, and play a role.
Jonathan likes that Peyton came in at Penn. I know that.
Yeah. Penn had some good freshmen. Like, came and played really, really well with Jenkins, I believe. Yeah. Ryan Altman, Jay Jones are solid. I think Princeton needs to hit on their freshman class, and I really like Jake Sisberg as their best freshman. But I do, they're in Landon Clark. Landon Clark can shoot the ball, but I think Princeton took a big hit, obviously.
Yeah, and I mean, and then obviously Yale took a hit when Nolan Groves decommitted.
That would have been their clear. Honestly, that would have been their best player besides Nick Townsend. You know,
I promise you that team's fine without him. But like they would have been
fine. But to have that, they would have probably filled the role of
I mean, they've got Casey Simmons coming back. They've got Sam Alatan coming back. Celiscar.
Yeah, they
did need kind of more of a proven scorer in the backcourt.
I was gonna say, like, they need a
that's kind of where I kind of see Riley Fox needs to have a big year.
I was gonna say same. Trevor Mullen hasn't plays any more than 10, 12 minutes a game. So
but I do think Nolan Groves would have been a really good impact player immediately in the Ivy.
I was gonna say like 13 a game, 3 assists, kind of like what Rob Hinton did. You know,
unfortunately for Yale, he is at Texas Tech now,
and he's gonna probably play a little bit. So we'll see how that works.
And
I don't think
I don't really have any names out of the Mid American Conference.
You called the Mid American. I always called the MAC, but I forget.
Single A MAC.
Yeah, they'll just call it Mid American. I got 4. Let's do 5 names. Ogden Stankovic, who's coming in from. He actually played pro last year, a good amount. Not great. Like, he didn't play that much, but he's going to be really good for Akron. And it's kind of unfair that late in the process they paid over. Let's just say they paid over $100K just to get a guy, which is crazy. You know, to get a player like that late, he's going to be really good. I gotta throw in Mekhi Leach at Bowling Green, super aggressive athlete. Play with Antoine West, and he was better than West. And I'm not saying he's going to be a better college player than West. I think development plays a factor in this, but coming in, I think he's ready to play a lot. As a freshman at Bowling Green, Buffalo has a solid big in Alexa Vaja. He can stretch the floor. He was playing at MA Hoops. So, Sir, I don't know if you
who are you talking about?
Alexa Vaja. He played. He played New York. I feel you probably know him. Buffalo's New York, so you probably watch.
I don't really follow Buffalo very much.
They play Syracuse, right?
Yeah, I'll see that. I'll
you watch that game. Yeah. A few more. Got to throw in Dylan Decum from Switzerland. It was huge because they listed him as a freshman, so he's 21. He's really, really good. He's probably their best player. Northern Illinois suck. Like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. They're going to be bad. But talent-wise, they always recruit.
They got a couple former MAC guys on their roster.
Yeah, I actually don't think they're that bad, honestly. But
you just said they suck, so
yeah. I forgot JJ Taylor was on the team. Honestly, I'm not saying Taylor is great, but Taylor would be, I think, productive at least. And then Laji Kante as well. Their team is pretty He's pretty athletic. He can really handle the ball. I want to throw in my favorite freshman that no one talked about. I was talking about Leroy Blyden at Toledo. He's super skinny, but he's super skilled. He's super aggressive. He shot like 78% of the rim last year. Which is crazy. So he's really, really good. And then throw in one more, Desmond Briscoe at Kent State. He's pretty much going to replace or be what Gillespie is for them, just an offensive rebounding machine. So, I like the Mid-American always.
We've already gone through some of the MAC guys.
Yeah, I just threw in Christian Jones.
If you want to go through to some other leagues, we kind of got to move a little quickly here.
Yeah, the MEAC, honestly, we can skip. Not to disrespect the MEAC, I don't have anything on top of my head. Missouri Valley, we'll go really quick with them because we talked a lot about.
Yeah, we kind of already went through that too. So if you want to.
Yeah, I'll see if there's anyone else. We talked about Lamone. John talked about pretty much most of it. Honestly, I'm cool with skipping it for now.
Yeah, just go to the Mountain West.
Mountain West. We'll do Mountain West real quick. Boise State I like Noah Benninger. I just don't think he plays. He's like a Zeke Mayo type of player, like the identical, honestly. But picked a little higher level to kind of like jump in. But who knows? They need shooting. I think he can play off the rip. Fresno State, their whole team is freshmen, but not just any freshmen, like international freshmen. So it'll be interesting to see how that works. Duoff, the redshirt freshman, kind of like Magoo and Guath a little bit. So we'll see how he produces. And then as well, I think Deshaun Gorey, he played at OT. He's really athletic. I think he'll play a lot. And then Wilson Jacous from France. That's probably the international guy I like the most out of the group. 7-footer, can really play, great footwork. I think he's gonna be a good player. Grand Canyon, they have one that's really, really, really good. Eve DeMiro. I'm not gonna say how much they paid for him. I don't want to leak that, but it was a ton of money for a guy coming in as a freshman, which makes me think he has to start. I don't know if William Brenbach is a great rim. He's not a great rim protector at all, so I don't know if he's ready to be a center. And Dennis Evans is extremely raw. So
Dennis Evans has been extremely raw, and he's in like year 7.
Yeah, right. So just like I think Eve probably gets a chance to start, and so I think for his freshman, it's pretty good to have a guy like that. I think I want to talk a little bit on New Mexico real quick. Uri Tennant, 5'11", hands down the most exciting athlete in the conference. He's an unbelievable athlete. He's like a 50-inch vertical, which is crazy. He's super explosive. But their other 2 freshmen are really solid as well, and they all can play. Tomislav Bulajin should not be a freshman. I don't know if he's good. He's not going to be a freshman, but he's a newcomer. He's like 22 years old. He probably starts at the center spot. Really good player. And then Timo Pons from France he won't play too much, but he can really shoot the ball. San Diego State, we talked a little bit about Harrington. Really good player, but I got to talk about Tay Simmons too. 6'8", 225, juggernaut athlete, can really defend multiple positions. I think he just fits everything that Brian Dutcher does at San Diego State. San Jose State, nothing really interesting there. UNLV, I like the freshman crew of Isaac Williamson, Mason Abatin, and Tyron Jones. Tyron Jones is like really, really athletic, unbelievable athlete. He could play high major, but he's just so skinny, and he really can't handle that physicality. Utah State's solid. They have some guys, but I do really like. I got really excited when John talked about Nasmeyer. I think Nasmeyer is probably honestly could be the freshman of the year. Yeah. I think he was so good at New Hampton's squad last year, and he was better than Blackwood and Tillery most of the season for me. And I wouldn't say Tillery, but he was there, and he's super shifty, super athletic. I think he's gonna be really good. And then Gavin Gores is okay, but
we're running out of time here, so kind of anyone else in the rest of the leagues that you want to go through.
Yeah, so NEC, I don't have anything on them. OVC, besides Taron Burgess, who's like a 4-star recruit, nothing really crazy in that conference. Patriot League, you talked about one. I like Amon Doris from Germany. SoCon, I really, really like Abijah Franklin. At Furman, he's really good. And so Alex Wilkins. Furman have a really good freshman crew coming in. Outside of the rest of the conference, I do like Noah Norgarden from Denmark. That's really about it. Southland, not too much talk about. I guess Filip Brankovic, he's a little older guy coming to UTGRV. I totally mispronounced that team's name. I don't know how to say it.
UTRGV.
Yeah, okay. And then Bryson Melvin at Stephen F. Austin's really athletic. I think he'll play as a freshman. Outside of that, Summit League, I really like Summit League. Freshmen always Anthony Smith, and then the Curtis brothers, Marley and Michael Curtis. I think all three start as freshmen. North Dakota should be really bad, but they're like top three most exciting freshmen in the mid-major level. In my opinion, I think like Curtis is like a Sutton clone, so Markel Sutton clone. So, and then Nick Janowski, who's a redshirt freshman transfer from Iowa State. Not really fair that he's a freshman. Obviously, he redshirted, but like he's going to be unbelievable. One of the better players as a freshman. Quickly touch on the Sun Belt. Sun Belt have a ton of guys that are really interesting. Obviously, Preston Flower, Micah Tucker at Georgia State, really shifty. They have some really good freshmen. I think it's definitely a more experienced league, though, so I'm not going to touch on all the freshmen. And I guess so the SWAC. Just Ashton McGee, I want to talk about, who's going to Southern. Super athletic, really, really talented player. I think he's going to be a really high-level player off the jump. The WAC, really quickly, don't think there's anyone crazy in the WAC.
That's like a 3-team league at this point.
It's like 5 teams. It's like no one's there. Jordan Lowry, freshman at Texas, from Texas, going to UT Arlington. He's really, really good. And Amari Reed as well on the same team. Unbelievable rebounder. So I think they have 2 solid freshmen. That's probably it for the conference. And then the WCC is obviously a really good conference. So I'll touch a little bit on it. I think Mario St. Cypri, unbelievable player. He's super fun. I think he's going to be like, when it's all said and done, fan favorite for everyone. They're going to love watching him. I think he's really fun player. Quickly touch on Oregon State's Keza Ezeki, who's listed as a freshman, but he played a year at JUCO. I don't know how that works. How he's a freshman, but if he's a freshman, I think he's going to be a really great piece for Oregon State as an elite on-ball defender and good athlete. Portland, Timo George, 6'8", 250-pound freshman. He's not look like a freshman. He doesn't play like a freshman. He's super physical. I think he's going to play a good amount as a freshman. Pepperdine, and their whole team is practically young. So Ty Virgil, super athletic. I think people are going to like him. And then Vladimir Sudar from Montenegro, he can pass the ball. He can handle it. I think he might play some point guard for them. St. Mary's, Dylan Shaw, as talked about, unbelievable player. Really good defender, really good athlete. But Montas Zuzic is their best. I think their best. I want to say their best shooter because Mikey Lewis is on the team, but definitely their second best shooter if that's the case, because he's kind of like Mikey Lewis, but 6'7". So I mean that's a good problem to have if you have like a
no doubt
taller version of Mikey Lewis. San Diego, they don't technically have like that much freshmen. Luke Boskovic and Pitor, they're like older guys, so they're not listed as freshmen. But Degari Goodwin, 6'5" kid from San Diego, he could play. Like he's really athletic. I think San Diego have so much players though, so I don't know who actually plays for them. San Francisco, quickly on them. I don't know how much he plays, but I like Wei Zhao. I think he's a fun player to watch.
Yeah, you're good things.
Yeah, really good player. And then Legend Smiley can shoot the ball, so he really can shoot the ball. I think he's going to be another really good freshman for that tandem. They have quickly on Santa Clara. We talked a little bit about Loncor. But Sasha Glilavo, complete butcher's name probably. He's listed as a freshman because he didn't play at Villanova. Yeah. But he was easily one of the most impactful players in the under 18s. I think he's a chance to be a really good player for them.
Yeah, they're going to need him to be really good.
Yeah, kind of like Adam Abal was like a good transfer for them. I think Sasha is too. And then Noah Badanga, but from France, that's what I want to talk about too. He's like 6'8", can handle the ball like a guard. He's really intriguing, but he's just so raw, like super skinny. But think of Kaishan George a little bit coming in from Miami. Same team, same club. So it'll be interesting to see how that looks. And then, I mean, Seattle doesn't have that much, and Washington State's Washington State. They have a lot of experienced players. So that's really it. I mean, would you say this is probably the most exciting freshman class in a minute? I'd probably say so.
In terms of just the fact of the top 3 and then the combination of the top 3 being as good as it is, a bunch of other really exciting guys like Mikael Brown and Tunde Mullins, and then the international class coming in. When you look at De Ritter, Abdulas, and if you obviously they're not all freshmen, but newcomers to college basketball.
Yeah, and
that was easily the most exciting class of newcomers to college basketball in a while. Because I thought last year's, I mean, with Coop and Dylan,
Ace,
and the more I thought it was really exciting. But I don't think it was this because we have the volume now of international guys changing.
For sure. Yeah, that's again, no 50-year seniors, so something had to happen. I think international players kind of took that replacement a little bit, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Armand, thank you so much for joining us. If you came to hear about Tyler Self and where he's working, you came to the right place. If you came to hear about international freshmen, if you came to hear about any freshman, you came to the right place. And if you came to hear about the latest happenings with Caleb Grill, you came to the right place. This has been season 6, episode 36 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bitch Stealers, and we will see you next time.